All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. And let's pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. And I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Think not that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom, Jay. Shalom, Maker. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. Shalom, Brother Shalom. So we're going to pick up on some different things. Peace, Brother Omar, man. But also I'm going to pick up on something that we were talking about last night. And I know, Shalom, East, man. And I know that people hold this point of view. I just hadn't heard nobody say it in a long time. It's a very dangerous point of view to hold. And it just is what it is. Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. Moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. He gave good heed. He sought out and set in order many proverbs. Let me share with you if you do not know what the word preacher is, what it means. I will discuss to you momentarily what that entails. Again, a preacher is a koheleth. That is kuf, that is hay, that is lamad, and that is tau. So one thing, if you know that, hey, a preacher should be able to cause you to behold your shepherd and behold the covenant of your shepherd and bring forth the light which is contained in the covenant of your shepherd. Why? Because he is a collector of sentences. He is a preacher. He is a public speaker. He is a speaker in an assembly, a koheleth. What does this mean to be a collector of sentences? Well, that's why I say because the preacher was wise. He still taught the people knowledge. Shalom, Brother Rob. Now, because the preacher was wise, why is this preacher wise? What does that mean? Of course, you know, that is kakam. What's happening, Zoe? That's a wise man. He's skillful in technical work. He is wise in administration. He is shrewd. He is crafty. He is learned. He is a class of men. He is a class of learned men. So I want to establish something first. Shalom, that man. Shalom, Brother Marcus, man. So come over here to Job 28. Hold Ecclesiastes 12. Come over here to Job 28. I want you to come to Job 28 and look at verse 12. We're going to go from Job 28 and 12 to Proverbs 4 and 4 in a moment. But bear with me. Job 28 and 12 says, but where shall wisdom be found? Where is the place of understanding? Oh. Late. I need 37 and a half push-ups. 37 and a half. Forthwith. Where Doris at? At the house. Doris, you ain't got no business at the house. You ain't did nothing today. You ain't got no business at the house. So listen, I asked you this question. What will y'all say? Where shall wisdom be found? Where is the place of understanding? Where would you find wisdom at? Where is the place that understanding dwells? This is prevalent to some of the things that we discussed on Wednesday. We haven't went through this passage in a while. I can add some other things onto it if so be. When you look at found, everybody, that is Masad. Shalom, Sister Jean. That is Meme, Sod, and Olive. That's to find. That is to attain. So where can wisdom be attained? Place is Makom. That's the standing place. The station, the post, the office, the region, the quarter, the space. Where is the place that understanding dwells at. Where you going to find that at? See, this is very, very important. As we pause for a moment, and let's look at Proverbs 4. But yeah, that's just saying that wisdom cry at the street, top of the street. That don't mean that where you're going to find it at, though. That don't mean that where you're going to find it at, though. Now, I want you to, everybody knows this passage, but I just want to share it anyway. So let's come over here to Proverbs 4. I want you to come to verse 1. Because the thing is we ended, and I wanted to go into that more in depth also. We ended Wednesday talking about that he will give you pastors according to his heart that will feed you with knowledge and understanding. And that's very, very important. Because John 13:20 says, whomsoever shall receive whomsoever I send, receive me. And whosoever receive me, receive him that sent me. See, just because an individual picks up the Bible, just because an individual takes this man's words in his mouth, does not mean that Yahuwah has sent him. That does not mean that man is on his payroll. You have people who are out here working, and you have people who are on his payroll. Everybody is not on his payroll. Shalom, Mama Steph. Yes, sir. What's happening with you, Barry? Everybody's not on his payroll. And some of the things that we discussed on Wednesday, and I've told to you in the past, it is very imperative for you to be able to ascertain who is not on his payroll. Yes, sir. You're talking about Malachi too. And so that you can be, so it can be easily determined for you to know who is on his payroll. Because 99.9% of the people that you see preaching the word is not on his payroll. When I first came in the word, one of the worst things I kept hearing Israelite dudes say was, it's every man's duty to preach this truth. It is not. It is absolutely not every man's duty to do this. It is absolutely not every man's duty to even open his mouth and even attempt to. Because contrary to popular belief, once you open your mouth and you talking about you preaching the word of Yahuwah, boy, that man gonna hold you accountable for every single solitary thing that you said out of your mouth. So when this man say every idle word that men speak, he'll give account for. Because the man already told you anybody who preached the word has to give account. You got to give account for the words you preach. You got to give account for your conduct over his sheep. You got to answer for that. And I told you that's why dudes would rather be internet preachers anyway, because they don't want to answer to this man. They want to have a little thing that's called culpable deniability. You know what I'm saying? That goes back to what we were discussing in John 10. They're a hireling. They're a hireling. And you have to be careful with that, because hirelings will leave you to be eaten up by the adversary with no care, concern, or regard. Come on, Stephen. Proverbs 4:1.
Hear you children the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding, for I give you good doctrine.
Pause. He told you to attend to know what?
To no understanding.
Tell him what attend is, man. Instruction is musar.
Attend is kashav, to hear, to be attentive.
Listen.
To incline.
A man said you need to incline to tell him what understanding is. Hold Job 28. What was up beforehand? Ecclesiastes 12.
Yes, but not understanding.
So that's just understanding. So you need to do what with understanding? You need to what?
Attend to know.
You better seek to know it. You better seek to know it. And understanding is banah, that's insight, that is prudence. You better know it. And again, I told you instruction is musar, that's discipline, that's chastening, that's correction, that's chastisement. He said, man, you better hear the instruction of a father. Again, when we're talking about discipline, we're not talking about corporal punishment. That's what a lot of people's biggest problem is that you think discipline is corporal punishment. Discipline in and of itself is not corporal punishment alone. Now, he said, right, attend to no instruction, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, check this out. Which do I want to use? We shall read Proverbs 23 and 23 swiftly. Notice that he said you need to hear the instruction of a father. Now, see how that worked with Hebrews 12 in a moment. Come on with that, right?
Say, buy the truth and sell not.
By the what?
Buy the truth.
That man said you need to buy is to mean to acquire, to possess. You don't necessarily need to be buying the word from somebody by giving them money per se. Go ahead and give them the definition of the word buy, just in case people do not know. I don't want anybody to think that you're supposed to be buying the word from nobody, because you're not.
That's kana, to get, acquire, to buy, to possess.
To get, to acquire, or possess. He's telling you to possess the amath. Tell them by definition what a mock is. I know you know these things. I want them on record if somebody comes back later and they don't know what that means.
It's firmness, faithfulness, truth.
So you need to acquire the firmness and the reliability of Yahuwah. Possess that. Acquire that. Shalom, Sister Kelly. Come on with it. Buy the truth and what?
Sell not.
Tell them what sell not mean. Don't sell it. Don't give it away.
Sell is makar, to sell, to be sold, to sell oneself, to be given over to death. To be given over to death.
So if you sell the faithfulness of Yahuwah away, you're going to give yourself over to death. See, he didn't notice that he didn't tell you to buy the law. He told you to buy faith, acquire and possess that. And also what else, sir?
It said wisdom and instruction and understanding.
Wisdom, instruction, and understanding. These are the 4 things that you must possess. You must possess the Amah, the Musar, the Kokma, and the Baneh. The Baneh or the Banah is understanding. Kokma is wisdom. You know what I'm talking about? Musar is a chastisement / instruction. And the truth is the Amah. Because if you go and acquire faith, then you're going to also acquire the wisdom and understanding that come from that faith and the discipline and chastening that is needed and required that produces from that faith, which will actually lead to you receiving the Ruach HaKodesh, which most people do not desire to speak on. Read it again, uninterrupted.
Buy the truth and sell not. Wisdom and instruction and understanding.
Wisdom, instruction, and understanding. Is this buy in this verse related to like buy, like the saying goes, to buy in? No. It's literally like go acquire a mouth. Go possess faith. Go acquire that. You know what I'm saying? And after you acquire that, go ahead and acquire you some wisdom, some understanding, and some correction. Go get that also. You know what I'm saying? This is what I wanted to read you to read. 2 Timothy 3:16. Because see, what we were discussing yesterday was, and when it mentioned, it brought back to mind because I hadn't heard it in a long time. But you know, IUIC used to have on the videos, they would say the prophets are back in town. Because you have a lot of people who believe that if you're just reading out of the word, that makes you a prophet. You know what I'm saying? And it does not. It absolutely does not. It means, like we were talking about yesterday, it means you know how to read. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be careful with that. Because I think that's more of an Israelite thing than a Christian thing. I noticed on the Christian side of things, they got prophets talking about, I'm going to prophesy into your life. No prophet in the history of prophets who come from Yahuwah have ever came to someone to give them a prophecy directly and specifically for their life that does not reflect the will of Yahuwah in the midst of that prophecy. So ain't nobody coming to prophesy talking about, I see you getting some money or getting a husband and all that other type of stuff, man. That's pure deep vanity. Peace, Brother Joseph. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. You have to sit back and look at, man, of all the things that Yahuwah would have prophesied, he prophesied about something that's just going to directly benefit your lusts, your desires, and you think that's a word from God? You got to stop lying to yourself. Man, when Isaiah or Jeremiah prophesied to these men, it was to reflect the will of Yahuwah overall, not something just specifically for this man. It was going to be for the esteem of Yahuwah. Anything that pertains to the word of Yahuwah is for the esteem of Yahuwah. If what is being reflected does not esteem Yahuwah, do you really believe that's a word from Yahuwah? Like, you have to be serious with yourself. But nobody wants to be serious. Everybody wants to play. If you want to play dress up, that's what October 31st is for. Shalom, Sister Gwen. If you want to play dress up, that's what October 31st is for. I don't care if you say that's a pagan day. You live like one every day. Every day. Every day of your life. Don't think because you do a couple things out the law that make you just before God, man, when you wicked every day. When I say wicked, we talking about the definition of ra. One of them is to be disagreeable. Many people are completely disagreeable towards Yahuwah and towards man every day that they breathe. But you justify yourself in your mind because you keep the Sabbath? Because you don't eat shrimp and lobsters? But your character is as filthy as the unclean animals that you say you don't eat. So what's better? My God, today. You know what the sad part is, man? A lot of people think if Yahushua was walking the earth that he would be on the same type of time they on. But guess what? Psalms 50 and 15. Look what he say right here. We go into 2 Timothy 3 and 16. Psalms 50 and 15 just came to my mind. We need to read it right now.
And call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver you, and you shall esteem me. But unto the wicked, Elohim saith, what have you to declare my statutes?
Salute, Dave.
You should take my covenant in your mouth.
Hold on. He say to the wicked, what did he say?
So what have you to declare my statutes?
He said, what you doing declaring my word for?
That you should take my covenant in your mouth.
That you want to speak my covenant to people. Seeing you do what?
Hate instruction.
You hate what?
Instruction.
These wicked niggas hate to be corrected.
And cast my words behind
and then you cast that man word behind you. What else they do?
When you saw a thief, you consented with him.
Oh, they consenting with Judas.
And have been partaken with adultery.
And then you protect with people who cheat on their wife.
You give your mouth to evil and your tongue frame deceit.
Then you give your mouth to speaking evil and your tongue tell lies.
You sit and speak against your brother.
You talk against your brother, your own mother's son.
These have you done, and I kept silent.
And I was quiet.
You thought that I was.
You thought I was a whole nigga like you.
I will reprove you.
Now I'm gonna correct your stupid behind.
Set in order before your eyes.
And get this stuff straight before your face, you wicked bastard.
Now consider this.
That's good. You notice the thing he said? He said, who are you to take my word in your mouth and my covenant in your mouth, seeing you go around casting my words behind your back? You talking, but you don't walk it. Nigga, you fake. Man, do you not understand that Yahuwah is the realest of the real? Ain't no one realer. No one. No one. So you think he like fake niggas? You think he like pretenders when that's not like him? I said this a long time ago, and we'll put it on the song. And I'm going to say it again because I meant it then and I mean it now. Ain't no hope in Yahuwah. Not in his words, not in his character, not in his spirit, not in his walk, not in nothing. Ain't no hoe in him. So when you see a nigga doing whole stuff, you should already know God ain't with him. That's it. Ain't nothing. That is a man, bro. That's a man. He's not a sucker. He's not a buster. He ain't a mark. He ain't a coward. He ain't none of that. So when you see men doing that, well, you already supposed to know, man, God ain't with him. When you see men willing to lower the standard to appease other men, you already know God ain't with him. Listen here, man. Y'all know what Nehemiah say, right? We need to read it. You know what I'm talking about? Go and give me that Nehemiah chapter 6 before we get around. I got something for these niggas tonight. I promise to you. I hate all these niggas. They wicked as hell and they solid. Hold on. Let me make sure I got that right verse for you now. We don't want to wait no time. Nehemiah 6:1. Come on.
Now it came to pass on Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arabian and the rest of our enemies heard that
I what?
Built the wall.
It wasn't no breach.
Left therein.
No, at the time.
I had not set up the doors upon the gate.
Then Sanballat.
And Geshem sent them to me saying,
what he said?
Come, let us meet together of the villages in the plain of Odin.
But they thought
to do me mischief.
And I sent messengers unto them saying,
I am doing a great work.
I'm doing a what?
A great work.
I'm doing a what?
A great work.
So
that I cannot come down.
So
I cannot come down.
Why should the
work cease
while I leave it
and come down to you?
You ain't got no business lowering the standard of stopping doing what God got you to do, to come down and converse with a jackass, an idiot, an imbecile, a hypocrite, a fake nigga. What is you doing that for? You should not be ceasing from what you got going on to come down to meet somebody who owns some folly. Also, you should never lower the standard. Yahuwah never lowers the standard. He said, man, hold on. before I read this one here, we still holding 2 Timothy 3:16, by the way. Matter of fact, you can make it 14. We still holding Job 28. We still holding Proverbs chapter 4. We holding Hebrews 12 also. And Job and Ecclesiastes 12 ain't went nowhere near. You know what I'm talking about? But when I say he don't lower the standard, get me Romans 8, man. Get me verse 30. That man don't lower the standard. And this, you should look at this in every avenue and area of your life. Guess what? When you have a standard, guess what people going to call you? Stuck up, arrogant, proud. Screw them and feed them donuts. People always want you to lower the standard because it makes it accessible for them. If you have a standard, you shouldn't make the standard accessible to people who are not willing to do what you are willing to do, which is put in the work, be consistent, be disciplined to what that standard was so that you can maintain it. You don't lower that to make somebody feel better about themselves. They need to come up and meet you. You don't go down to meet them. That's insane. And anybody who tell you that, they don't give a damn about you. See, we talking about a standard. I'm not talking about no doggone preferences and all this other stuff. I'm talking about a standard. We talked about that last week when he said, raise up the standard, you raise up the banner. There's a standard. You don't lower it. You know why? Because Yahuwah never lowers the standard. When you lower the standard, you let people in who should not be in. See, if you have a standard, see, you can't hold anybody to a standard that you don't keep yourself. See, but if you keep the standard, you can hold people to the standard. This is why people don't want to hear about godliness. This is why people don't want to hear about being born of the word, making a new heart and a new spirit so you sin not. Because now there's a standard. This is why people tell you, ain't nobody perfect, ain't nobody, because if there's a standard, then they have to meet it. This is why they like preachers who own that type of time, because if he's sinning, the people never have to raise the standard. See, they don't want a preacher who not sinning because then he's representative of the standard. That means that's proof that the standard must and can be met. And people don't want to do that because that's representative of their own lack of desire and whatever that is. Most of y'all done been to school before. Did them people lower the standard so you could pass? And some low-scoring schools and public education they did, how did that benefit the students when they lowered the standard? It didn't. Because when they went out in the real world, they found out that nobody's lowering the standard to appease your lack of performance. Nobody's doing that. And you shouldn't do it. If you have a standard for your life and you hold to that standard, I ain't just talking about the word now, man. I'm not talking about superficial stuff either. I'm not talking about, what do you call that stuff, man? I'm not talking about monetary things. I'm not talking about no money. I'm not talking about material things. I'm not talking about none of that type of stuff, man. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a standard for your life that you hold. If you hold a standard of honor and integrity and righteousness and love and peace and kindness, that's the standard that anybody has to hold to be in your life. If they don't want to hold that standard, you don't let them in. Period. You don't let them in. Because you think Yahuwah letting you in? If you don't hold that standard? Because that's his standard. Because we talking about where is wisdom found? Where is the place of understanding? Where do you find that at? He said, you children, hear instruction and attend to understanding. So we have to look at that. What does that look like? Because he said his pastors are supposed to be feeding you with that, the knowledge of God and the understanding of the knowledge of God. The reason being because that is your perfection. See, when we were talking about Wednesday, these men are not finding out the causes of your banishment while you separated from your God. So though you may have a plethora of information, you still have not joined and become a God with your God. So what good was the information? If the information don't lead to salvation and all it's going to produce is damnation and condemnation, why are you participating in it? That's insane. He said, like most street dudes not going to do something unless they see the gang clicker crew leader do it. Well, not necessarily. I don't know. Let me take that back. Because these young cats, I don't know what these young cats do. You know what I'm saying? But when we was in the street, man, you couldn't be hanging with killers and you wasn't no killer. Because they would not trust you. Because they would want to see if you were willing to do the things that they were willing to do. You know what I'm talking about? And if you say that you godly, see, that's a fine line, right? Because see, what some people talk about, well, how you supposed to win sinners? Come on, man. Winning sinners and hanging with sinners is two different things. You know what I'm saying? People conflate so many different things because they're finding a way to lower the standard and justify their behavior. You know what I'm saying? But the same way the Lord say, you circumcise a man, he say, but he say, all of y'all trying to want to stone me. He say, but none of you keep the law. These boys talk about the law 24/7 in the same breath tell you they don't keep it because they sin. Oh, we all sin, brother. No, speak for yourself. Let me ask y'all a question, man. I'll grab it in a second. Listen, right? Let me ask y'all a question. How many of y'all go about and break the laws of the state or the federal statutes of the United States of America? How many of y'all do not break the laws of the land? You know what I'm saying? And why don't you seek to break the laws of the land? You know why? Because you don't want to go to jail. So if you can tell me that you can obey laws that will keep you out of the booty house, ain't that what he said on Training Day? You ever been to the booty house? They got room for you at the booty house. You don't do nothing to go to your local county jail. You don't do nothing to go to the Department of Corrections in your state. You don't seek to be locked up in the federal Department of Justice system. How many of y'all going out here doing tax fraud? How many of you out here committing murder? How many of you out here shoplifting? None of you, because you don't want to go to jail. So don't tell me everybody's sin when you don't break man's law every day of the week. How can you have more respect, fear, and reverence for the commandments of man and not of your God? You a hypocrite at his finest, if you ask me. Talk all that trash about Mr. Charlie, but you scared of Mr. Charlie jailhouse, though. You ain't trying to see Mr. Charlie jailhouse, though. My God, today. Come on, where we at with it?
Romans 8:30.
Come on with it.
It say, moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also esteemed. What shall we say then to these things? If Elohim for us, who is against us? Who can be against us? He that spared not his own son.
He didn't do what?
Spared not his own son.
He didn't do what?
Spared not his own son.
If he ain't spared his own son, come on, man, come on with it.
But delivered him up for us all. How shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
Come on, man. That's indeed, Brother Mark. If he ain't lowered, if he ain't spared his own son, what make you think he gonna lower the standard? Come on to Genesis 4. Pick me up at 4 and 4. You like 4 for 4s?
I don't make them the same.
They don't make them the same. I ain't gonna lie to you, boy. Them Wendy's chicken nuggets is trash. Them not the Wendy's chicken nuggets from the 90s. I can tell you that. Them nuggets is terrible. Muffin love them nuggets. Come on with it.
It say, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahuwah had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
He ain't tell him what he ain't have respect. What that mean? I'm for real, know that them nuggets terrible.
Respect the sha'ah, to look at or to regard, to gaze at or about.
He didn't look on his offering, and he had no respect for it. Go ahead.
And Cain was very wroth that his countenance fell. And Yahuwah said unto Cain.
Now look at it. He mad because Yahuwah didn't accept it. Yahuwah didn't lower the standard, and he was mad. What you mad for? You had the opportunity to meet the standard just like Abel did. Come on, man.
Yahuwah said unto Cain, why are you wroth? Why is your countenance falling? If you do well, shall you not be accepted?
If you do well, should you not be what?
Accepted.
Tell him what do well and accept it is, man. If you meet the standard, ain't he gonna accept you?
Do well as your top, to be good, to be pleasing, to be well.
If you do that which is pleasing, will you not be accepted? Listen to what he's saying. You need to just not look at the words on the page, man. We were just talking about this the other day. Today, I just told Mom Steph this here, right? It's certain things because of the type of man who raised her. See, if you raised by a certain type of man, and then you come and you look at how Yahuwah raised his children, it is very easy to follow him. If you were raised by a strong, dominant, austere man, A man who does not compromise in his self-discipline. Remember, Yahushua say, I'm an austere man that is rigorously self-disciplined and uncompromising. I can tell you from the time that I can remember from television media, men are told every day of their life to compromise. You know what I'm talking about? Compromise for your wife, compromise for your job, compromise for your kids, compromise for this. And you have to understand what compromise, and I've told you this 1,000 times, compromising by definition means to take less than what you want. You know what I'm saying? As a man, you are never, and I mean never, under any circumstance, ever to compromise. And again, your wife want to go to her mama house for on a weekend, and you not. That's not about compromising. That's not what we talking about. Her wanting Mexican and you wanting Italian. That's not nothing about no compromising. That's coming to a meeting of the minds. That's a negotiation. Unless you done outright said, I'm not doing that. See, if you haven't outright said, I'm not doing that, or we're doing this, and then you go back on that, then you've compromised. If that's not what you wanted to do, you can never compromise. Never. And that is not for no man, it's for anybody. We just say if they really ain't got no taste. Man, I ain't bought them joints in a long time either. I tried them a couple years back. I say never again. Compromise by definition is an agreement or settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. That's the noun. As a verb, settle a dispute by mutual concession. Also, accept standards that are lower than is desirable. Now ask yourself this question. Should you lower the standard to that which is less than desirable? Do you think Yahuwah should do that? And if Yahuwah don't do that, why are you? You know what I'm saying? Let me ask yourself, why are you? And then you would have to look at people who would want to push, prod, manipulate, persuade you to lower your standard. Then you need to be looking at them like, what type of time you on? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to pause and pay attention to that and not just go ho-hum throughout your whole doggone life like everything is just honky-dory, like nothing mean nothing. That's how you keep getting game run on you. Because you're not paying attention. Come on, keep on reading. Genesis 4 and what?
No, 7. Accepted was that's elevation, exaltation, dignity, swelling, to be accepted.
To be accepted. Go ahead.
It says, if you do well, shall you not be accepted? Mm-hmm. And if you do not well, sin lie at the door.
If you do not well, sin lie where?
At the door.
And
unto you his desire, and you shall rule over him.
And he said, if you don't do well, then your desire going to be to sin, and sin going to rule over you, which is why he said, he that commits sin is the servant of sin. And to who you yield your member servants to obey is to whom you obey, whether sin unto death or life unto righteousness. So if you don't want to do well, sin going to have dominion over you. It's going to rule over you. So he let him know what the standard was. Cain didn't want to meet the standard. Cain hated the standard so bad he killed his brother. Because he hated God. Because God had a standard and Abel met it, and Abel meeting the standard was reflective of the fact that Cain had no desire to meet it. None. Y'all don't realize that people's inability or lack thereof, a desire thereof, is the reason why they hate the righteous. This is why. This is why they hated the Lord. They didn't want to meet that standard. They just wanted the benefits they thought that came with keeping that standard, but they didn't want to do the work necessary to hold it. Yeah, man, that's how it is. It's a dirty game. Or let me say this here, as the hot boys want to say, it's a dirty world, but it's still spinning. You know what I'm talking about? And it is what it is, you dig? So, come on back to what it was. 2 Timothy 3 and 14. Still holding Ecclesiastes 12 and 9, Job 28 and 12, Hebrews 12 and 5. We ain't got the Hebrews 12 and 5, but I referenced it out. And I think that's it.
So, but continue you in the things which you have learned and have been assured of, knowing of whom you have learned, and that from a child you have known the Kadash scriptures, which are able to make you wise unto salvation, through faith which is in the Mashiach Yahushua. All scripture given by inspiration of Elohim and is profitable for doctrine.
Profitable for what?
For doctrine.
Doctrine. So that's tell you that's the Dea or the Debar. It's profitable for the knowledge of God. And for what else?
For reproof.
That's your Musar. That's your correction. And what else?
For correction.
That's Musar again. And what else?
For instruction in righteousness.
So if it's instruction in righteousness, that's the truth.
That the man of Elohim may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all.
So when you buy the truth and acquire wisdom, instruction, and understanding with it, it'll make you perfect. So that you can perform the good works that are pleasing before God, that you can actually manifest the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith, so that you can actually see what it was. I don't even think we went into that in depthly quite yet. When Yahushua said, I come in my Abba's name and you receive me not, because everybody thinks, see, it's not Jesus, it's not Jehovah, it's Yahuwah. See, that's a dummy. These boys, look at man, these are dudes who went in the kitchen to cook up coke and they didn't know how they were cooking it. And in their attempt to cook it up, even though the work was trash, the people liked it. And because people kept coming back, they thought they had a good product. People keep coming back to McDonald's. That don't mean that's a quality hamburger. Some people keep going back to prostitutes. That don't mean that's a quality woman. There's a woman right now who's going home to a man who has been laying on the couch, farting and scratching his butt, arguing with young boys on the internet while playing Xbox or PlayStation 5, and she is coming back to him. That don't mean she got no good man at the house. You know what I'm saying? People come back to low quality and bad stuff every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you got to pay attention to that. Hey, Monte, wow. Like, you got to pay attention to that. People come back to low quality and bad stuff every day. I'm talking about every day. Every day. Come on, man. Every day. That don't mean it's good. That don't mean it's good, man. You know what happens when you really know how to cook up some work? And you go out there and try to sell it, people don't want it, it's too strong. I ain't used to smoking that. No, I don't want none of that. You know what I'm saying? No, keep that. That had me geeking. I want to be even keel. And they be happy with it. They be happy with it. These boys cooking up straight water whip. That junk is trash. The same way we were talking about that schoolmaster on Wednesday, that's trash. This stuff these people be teaching is trash. Dude posted something today, these people going crazy, right? Talking about, how y'all got a 9-stem menorah? It's supposed to be a 7-stem menorah. Why the hell you got a menorah in your house? You know ain't damn one of y'all supposed to have no menorah in your house. That menorah was for the temple, not for you to make one to have on your in the middle of your dinner table. And then if you got one, you gotta make it how he said make. You can't go to no goddamn Walmart and bring home no brass alloy menorah. What's wrong with y'all, Mr. Lawkeeper? That man say that menorah is supposed to be made out of pure gold, beaten work, and it's supposed to be made from one piece of gold. You got to form them 7 stems from one piece of gold. If you don't do that, you ain't got no business with one. Because that's not, he said, did he not say, make it according to the pattern I showed you in the mount? You going to Walmart, ain't making one. You ordering one from the Jewish supply store, ain't making one, man. Niggas getting amped up. We eat lamb on Passover. If you going to eat lamb on Passover and say you keeping the Passover according to the law, boy, you supposed to find a lamb of the first year with no blemish and slaughter him on the set day and roast him whole like he said. Not how you want to do it. Not go to Publix and buy a pack. Now, it's different if you want to buy lamb and just say we eating that. But you not saying you doing it because gotta have a lamb and a bit of herbs and a woo woo woo. No, man, that's not how that work, blood. I done told you this before. Niggas get amped up for tabernacles. That man ain't tell you to go to Walmart and buy no Coleman tent. That's not what he told you to do. You can't be calling no assembly with no ram's horn when that man told you to get one piece of whole silver and make that with a beaten work and make that trumpet. Niggas talking about, man, y'all got Hanukkah looking like Christmas. Y'all giving gifts. What's wrong with you selfish bastards? That's what they did in that. That's what it said in Maccabees. Nigga, they gave gifts, jackass. That's the same thing they did in Purim. They gave gifts. You old niggas don't want to give nobody nothing. Because you worrying about you don't want to look like Christmas. Who gives a damn about Christmas? Why are you thinking about it? You thinking about it because you still want to do it, nigga, and you mad. Shalom, Ernest, man. I ain't thinking about what them people doing for them. What that got to do with me? I heard a nigga say, you can't keep the feast days. You can't keep them right. What's there to do? You get the word and you eat. Or you can't keep them without a temple. What you mean, nigga? You think this man care about some animals you niggas bringing? Listen to Jeremiah 7:5. This is the temple of Yahuwah. For you wicked, we can't do it without no temple niggas. Think this man give a damn about you sacrificing a damn bullock and you finna go home and beat up your wife tonight. You finna go home and tell a bold-faced lie. You finna go home and be drunk. You're around here lusting after your neighbor's wife every goddamn day. Come on, man. I hate all these niggas, man. Now, I wish I could find the Ark of the Covenant just so I could get them stones so I could run by all across America and slap wicked niggas in the mouth with it. Bah! Y'all think I'm joking, too. I'm not. I'm dead serious. If the Lord would allow, I would run around the United States of America and slap niggas in the mouth with the same covenant that they keep, that they talking about that they don't keep. So I can knock all the teeth out your mouth. Come on, man.
See, for if you truly amend your ways and your doings, if you truly execute judgment between a man and his neighbor.
Make it 3. Jeremiah 7:3.
Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place.
Come on.
Trust you not in lying words.
Don't trust in lying words.
The temple of Yahuwah.
The temple of Yahuwah.
The temple of Yahuwah.
The temple of Yahuwah is what?
Are these.
What is those things, sir?
Truly amend your ways and your doings.
The temple of Yahuwah is to change your ways.
If you truly execute judgment between a man and his neighbor.
Thoroughly execute proper judgment. What else?
Don't trust not the stranger.
Stop on being an oppressive, violent, extorting type nigga.
The fatherless and the widow.
How about you stop doing that to the stranger, the fatherless and the widow? You know that man. You know that little boy ain't got no parents. You know that woman ain't got no husband. You know her husband died. Come on, man. Hold on, me.
Shed not innocent blood in this place.
Stop killing people.
Neither walk after other gods.
And stop being an idol.
Then will I cause you to dwell in this place.
That's the temple of Yahuwah. Why don't they never talk about that? Say, what if some say, how can you be perfect and we're human that makes mistakes? So if we make mistakes without seeing them. See, this is the thing. What is a mistake? So if you did 5 times 5 and you put 23, does that mean you're not perfect? No, that just means you're bad at math. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at being perfect or tamaim, it's to be complete, it's to be whole, it's to be innocent, it's to have integrity, it's to be blameless, it's to be without spot. What man calls mistakes and what Yahuwah calls sins are 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? And we're not being judged by man's standard. We're being judged by Yahuwah's standard. Man will come up with any standard to make himself feel better. Shalom, Bazooka, man. To make himself feel better about him being wicked. So he has to make sure that he's pulling you down to him. So when you say, just like we read with Nehemiah, say, I'm doing a great work. Well, what is the work? Believe on him whom he hath sent. That's what the Lord said. If you're doing that great work, then you're going to walk according to that standard. So people are going to want to pull you down. Oh, you made a mistake. What does that mean? Because perfect doesn't, even by definition, the definition of the word perfect don't even mean what the average person thinks. Because people think perfect means without flaws. That's not what perfect means. Not even in English. It definitely don't mean that in Hebrew. But perfect, and by definition in English, having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics as good as it is possibly to be. Absolute, complete. Then something free from faults or defects, close to such a condition as possible. So to be without fault or defect, what is a fault? That means for us, that would be sin. You know what I'm talking about? So you would, if you without that sin, then you would be perfect. But notice it said to possess the what? The required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics. So if you possess mercy, grace, long suffering, forgiveness, you would possess the desirable qualities and traits. And if you possess those traits, ask yourself this question: how could you sin? When this man say, if you love your neighbors, you love yourself, and you love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your mind, heart, strength, and soul, how could you sin? Would you not be representative of the desirable elements and characteristics? Because we're supposed to possess joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, self-control. Against such there is no law. You can never be condemned for participating in those activities. Those activities don't produce death, they produce life. You understand? So when you possess these qualities and characteristics, this is going to show in your life how you live, how you treat people, and how you interact with people. Therefore, what fault could they find? I told a dude this the other day, and I've said this before to y'all before. When a person is going on a fault-finding mission, they're of the devil. Because the text says that the devil is an accuser of the brethren. No godly person goes out looking to find fault in someone. Remember the Lord said, he said, which one of you convicts me of a sin? And if I tell you the truth, why don't you believe me? When you look at the scribes and Pharisees, all they did was going about trying to find fault with this man. When you look at when Daniel was in Babylon, those other men in Babylon, they were trying to find fault with him. Same thing with Job's friends. They were trying to find fault with him. And what did Yahuwah say about Job's friends? They didn't speak the right thing like my servant Job did. You should never, under any circumstance, go on a sin/fault finding mission on anyone. You should never look at anything that anyone is experiencing and say that must be the direct consequence of their sins if you don't know for a fact that they have committed a sin. You know what I'm talking about? That's not that. If that's the first thing that come to your mind, that speaks to your spirit. That speaks to the type of heart that you got. You know what I'm saying? Because time and chance happen to everybody. Man, life happened to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So that don't mean nothing. But that's how you've been conditioned to think. But wicked niggas go looking for sin. When you seen David go looking for sin? What did you see Isaiah and Jeremiah go invest? What did you see Yahushua himself going looking for sin on somebody? That's not godly. That's wicked nigga stuff. Because that's how wicked niggas feel better about themselves. Let me find a sin on them. Let me find a sin on him. I know they got one. Because they laden with sins. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to remember, you ain't got to prove nothing to these people. If you know you standing on that rock, you ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. You ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. You know what I'm talking about? I just say we were talking brother the other day, right? And he was like, man, you know, we talking, he's saying, I got all this Nike stuff on. I'm like, brother, nobody give a damn about that. I say, bro, nigga been sitting out here talking with you for 20, 30, 45 minutes, man. Ain't paid no attention to that. Because some people tell you, if you got that on, you sinning. And some people will tell you, hey, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And then individuals such as ourselves, I'm not going to wear it personally, but my mind isn't fixated on, look at this wicked nigga with this Nike on. That don't even come into my mind because I don't care. You know why? Because this man could have Nikes on and his heart be a God. And this nigga got Adidas on and he wicked as hell. You know what I'm talking about? Period, point blank. I mean, it's really just that simple. That's not saying, oh, we going to run out here and grab it. It's saying for perspective. That on your body, because at the end of the day, guess what I know? None of you are holding up your Nike sweatsuits or your Deion Sanders sneakers or your Air Force Ones and putting it on an altar and bowing down and worshiping at the altar of the goddess of victory. I know that's not what you're doing. It's athletic sneakers and apparel. You bought it because it was fly. You know what I'm talking about? That's it. Average person don't even know who Nikkei is, for that matter. But for those of us who do, we made a conscious decision to say, you know what? I would rather not have her name on my body. See how that works? You see how simple that is? See, that goes into some things aren't expedient. Or like what Paul says, should I be held for another man's conscience? If me not wearing that would not cause my brother to sin, then I ain't gonna wear it. It's not that hard. Stop being a selfish bastard. Stop making everything about you. Everything ain't about you, man. Sometimes you got to think about, man, what do my words, deeds, and actions, what will that do for that brother over there? He ain't strong in the word as me. That's what some of y'all biggest mistake is you think everybody in the word like you, man. Everybody ain't strong as you. So you have to be cognizant of that. You got to be aware of that. You got to be aware just because you can do something don't mean you should do it. But that's when you have a desire to serve and take responsibility for yourself. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, where we at with it, good sir? That's good in Jeremiah. And we good in 2 Timothy. Come on to Hebrews 12 and 5. I done got off the beaten path, but it's all good. Lay your who be a stick.
Saying, you have forgotten the exhortation which speak unto you as unto children. My son, despise not you the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when you are rebuked of him.
Don't fall out. How many of y'all were kids when your parents corrected you was sitting around looking stupid? And I told you before, man, you ain't got to beat them children, man. You got to sit down. You got to teach them. Chastisement is about teaching. That's why he said, blessed are those who are chastened out of your law. That's what Psalm 94 and 12 says. You think that means, you think when he chastening you out of his law, you think he beating you? No, that means he taking this word and he's correcting you. He's disciplining you. He's chastening you. He's letting you know, woo, 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 woo. I'm trying to teach you to get better. That's why he say, hear you children, hear the instruction of a father. Take this discipline that I'm giving you. Let's just look at discipline in English if we would. Would that be fair to do that, Civic? Mm-hmm. Civic say that's what needs to be done, so done it shall be. When you look at discipline of definition, the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, using punishment to correct disobedience, a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education, train someone to obey rules or code of behavior. Also, the quality of being able to behave and work in a controlled way, which involves obeying particular rules and standards. Also, the discipline, the self-control that is gained by requiring that rules or orders be obeyed, and the ability to keep working at something that is difficult. Disciplinarians believe that such self-control is of the utmost importance and enforce a set of rules that aim to develop such behavior. And what is one of the fruits of the spirit but temperance, self-control, self-discipline? And he said he was an austere man, rigorously self-disciplined and uncompromising. Hold on for me. I keep referencing it. Let me get that for you. I think that's in Luke 18. You stay where you at, Sue. I think that's in Luke 18, by the way. Hold on. It's Luke 19. Come over here to Luke 19 and 21, everybody. I'll make it 20. Another came, this is Luke 19 and 20. Another came, saying, Lord, behold, here's your pound, which I've kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared you, because you are an austere man. And you take up that you lay not down, and you reap that you did not sow. And he said unto them, out of your own mouth will I judge you, you wicked servant. You knew that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then give not you my money into the bank, that at my coming I have required my own at usury. Now, of course, we're not going into that parable. That parable is a whole nother conversation. But when you look at this word in Greek, it is austeros. It is of mind and manners, harsh, rough, rigid, severe. Y'all know what it means to be rigid? You like ruffles because they had ridges? I hated Ruffles. They're disgusting. You start to eat one and then you remember why you don't like them. By definition, austere, severe, strict in manner, attitude, or appearance. The other ones it's really not necessary for what we need. Again, someone who is stern and unfriendly in appearance. Also very harsh. Now, what does it mean to be rigid? This is unable to bend or to be forced out of shape and does not able to change or adapt. So, of course, Munchos are great. She said, I got a bag of sour cream and cheddar. I can deal with that. I'm talking about plain Ruffles. Plain Lay's too.
Plain Lay's, you know what I'm saying?
Trash.
Put some hot sauce in them.
No, I don't know what I look like eating chips with hot sauce, nigga. Hell, I look like damn hot sauce. I don't want no hot sauce on my burrito, baby, either. You know what I'm talking about? But listen, what does Yahuwah say in Malachi chapter 3? I'm Yahuwah, I what? Change not. What does they say about him in Hebrews? He say each and hot. That boy, that great. And what does he say in Hebrews 13:8? Yahushua HaMashiach, the same yesterday, today, and forever. He don't change. That's what makes him austere. That's why he's uncompromising. And then he's self-disciplined. The same standard that he's holding you to, he held himself to. But one of the aspects in life that everyone must be is self-disciplined. You still have to maintain. This is why he say he'll put the law in your heart and in your inward parts. It would make you self-disciplined. You know what I'm saying? It's what people don't understand. People don't like discipline. Because, again, people like it loose and fast. They don't like it nice and tight. You know what I'm saying? They want that wiggle room. Nah, don't wiggle, baby. The wiggle gonna get you in trouble. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. Hebrew 12, man. It's gonna get you in trouble.
You say, for whom the Lord loved, verse 6.
Verse 6.
Say, for whom the Lord loved, he chastened and scourged every son whom he received.
Now, scourging dealing with he whooping your behind, but nevertheless.
If you endure chastening, Elohim deal with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chastened not? But if you be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are you bastards and not sons.
If this man can't correct you, you a bastard. You ain't none of his children. Come on.
Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected, and we gave reverence.
If your daddy corrected you and you gave him respect, how much more for the Father of spirits? Let me ask y'all, for those of you who had that. If your father was there and he corrected you, he chastened you, he disciplined you, on a scale from 1 to 10, what was your level of respect for him? Now, probably then at the time, and he going to say that, at the time it seemed grievous to you. When you got older, you probably understood why he was so harsh. You know what I'm saying? Which is why you see society in the state it is now, because unfortunately, a lot of women don't want men to be that harsh with them kids. Like, I think I've just seen a clip where it was talking about, Mama Steph said at the time I couldn't stand him. I think it said Kings Von's mother of his child. The coach was harsh with him, and she took him off the team and don't talk to my baby like that. Oh, I already know when you become an adult, you understand. You know what I'm saying? When you were a child, it seemed like, man, this nigga here. You know what I'm saying? You don't really get it because you think he's just being mean for the sake of being mean. You know what I'm saying? This man is really trying to get you prepped and prepared for life. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they don't want you to be that type of man no more. That's why the children are weak mentally. You know what I'm saying? This is why you have a generation of mentally weak children who grow into mentally weak adults. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be mentally weak and expect to succeed. You have to have some level of mental toughness. Now, I will say, you know, it's a little different when you're dealing with girls. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't necessarily want to be that hard on a girl. Some men don't care. You know what I'm talking about? They like the same work that I'm going to give my son, my daughter going to get it too. And if I don't have a son, well, I guess what? My daughter gonna get all that too, because he wants her to have that type of fortitude. But really, what it is the same way that you can hear your father in your ear. You say, I wasn't, I already know. The way that you can hear his instructions, his teachings in your ear, the word the same way. Because he wants you to lay up his teachings and his discipline in you. And guess what? All that discipline and chastising he gave you, guess what he produced? Some wisdom and understanding. You had insight on why you move the way you have to move in certain situations and circumstances because of the instruction that he gave. I already told you, man, me and the parent, that's cool, having fun, this, that, and the third. Man, that junk really about instruction. I told you that before, man, the way you want your child to be really, man, you got to put that in the first 5. In the first 5. Because after them first 5 years, man, you're going to have a hard time. If you already lay that put that in that hardware early, then you can be able to develop them in the way that you want them to go. But you know what people tell you, man, you can't be grooming your kids. And people are like, how you sound? Now, I know people use grooming because people use grooming as a means of people who are pedophiles, who really set up children in order to lay with them sexually. You know what I'm saying? But in the reality, let's look at grooming by definition. Everybody, if you're going to be a teacher, you're grooming everybody. You're grooming your students. Like, that's just a part of life. Grooming is a part of instruction when you take the perverted stuff out of it. Grooming by definition is the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity. Now, sexual grooming is the action or behavior used to establish an emotional connection with a vulnerable person. And that's what most people like to refer to when they speak to grooming. They be like, he just wants to. You're supposed to groom a woman to be your wife. You know what I'm talking about? Not a wife, your wife. You know why? Because she can't be Civic's wife if she's going to be married to this man over here. Because what Civic may desire and require is not what that man requires. So she would need to be trained on how to be his wife. Do you not go to an employer? Do they not groom you on how to work in their company? Are they not training you to perform that particular? You're being groomed in the word. See, we don't need to take grooming and associate it with sexual grooming, because at that point, we just making everybody perverts. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not a pervert. But we live in a society that any man who has a desire to take someone and train them for a purpose, now it's something wrong with him. And you wonder why the children suck. You know what I'm talking about? You wonder why they're not good at anything. You wonder why they're undisciplined. You wonder why they have no desire for any level of accomplishment that doesn't pertain to streaming or sports or some type of entertainment. Because you have not groomed them. You have not trained them. Proverbs 22:6. This is grooming by definition right here. What does it say, Civic?
Say, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Tell him what train mean, man.
That's kanak, to train, to dedicate, to inaugurate, to train up.
Is that not what grooming was by definition?
Yeah, to initiate or discipline.
And to initiate into a discipline or discipline? Yeah, that's grooming. That is literally grooming. If you don't groom, they're unprepared because they haven't been trained. You cannot chastise an untrained child for not flourishing in something that you did not prepare them for. How the hell were they supposed to know how to do it? And that's why it is dangerous to listen to men who are not collectors of sentences. How will they be able to train you how to serve your God? Come on back to Hebrews 12 where you start that. That's what the chastening is for. It's literally Yahuwah grooms. No one should be, you should not run away from that. You know why you run away from that? From all the doggone virtue signaling that goes on in this country every doggone day. Come on with it.
Verse 9.
Hebrews 12:9. Say,
furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected, and we gave reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Abba of Ruachs and live? For they truly for a few days chastened after their own pleasure, but he for profit.
He chastened you for your benefit.
That we might be partakers of his kadosh.
That you might be able to know how to be set apart.
Now, no chastening for the present seemed to be joyous,
but grievous.
Nevertheless, afterward, it yielded the peaceable fruit of
But after this, man, this disciplined you. And because guess what? When you're dealing with discipline and training, it's the training. That training don't feel good while you're doing it. This ain't even talking about somebody beating on you. Man, if you've ever trained for a sport, shoot. I know those of y'all who went to basic training, I know that wasn't an enjoyable endeavor. I guarantee you that training you went through to become a CEO wasn't an enjoyable endeavor, but it yielded the profit and the produce that you needed to participate in that particular vocation upon completion. And you understand why them people took you through that. You know what I'm saying?
So you gotta weed people out.
Gotta weed the weak out. You know what I'm saying? That's what the furnace of affliction is for. That's what that chastisement is for. We got to weed them out. You remember what he said with Shalom 10K. You remember what he said during the time of Gideon, man. If they been down to drink, you know what I'm talking about? Send them boy back to the high. Got to weed the weak niggas out. My Lord. We'll be back at it at Proverbs 4. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, y'all. We had to take that trip. It was necessary. Read 4:1.
Say, hear you children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding.
You know how you see why he telling you that he wants you to hear the instruction of a father? Go ahead, man.
For I give you good doctrine.
Forsake
you not my law, for I was my father's son.
Tender.
And only in the sight of my mother.
Paul, tell him what only, man. Let's make sure that's y'all kid, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yaked is the word for only begotten son. You read Genesis about Isaac, and he said, your only son is Yaked. It's his only begotten son. The reason why Isaac is referred to as the only begotten son, because that's the son that was begotten of Yahuwah. He don't care nothing about Ishmael, because he didn't beget Ishmael. I didn't promise you Ishmael. That's some other stuff. They ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to do him dirty because I fooled with your dad. See, that's what people miss out of this here, right? It's not that Hagar was wicked. It's not even that Yahuwah admonished Abraham for laying with Hagar or admonished Sarah for giving Hagar to him. Because he said, I'm not going to forget the lad. That's what he said. He called out to Hagar when she was out there weeping, thinking she finna die. So he had no issue with them. He just know, oh, you can't inherit with him. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't had no beef with him. But this one right here, out of all the sons you got, this the only one I recognize. I don't recognize them other niggas. See, that's a hard pill for some people to swallow. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't recognized them other sons. And of course, the other sons hadn't been born yet. But, you know, he didn't recognize Ishmael. He said Isaac was his Yaked, his only son, his only begotten son. Why? Because he was begotten of the promise. He only recognizes those who were born of the word. Isaac, even though Abraham laid with his wife and the seed of copulation inseminated her dead womb, it was all by through the power of Yahuwah, because he spoke that word and it was surely going to come to pass. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I don't know why people have a hard time. People are like, oh, he had sex with Mary. What's wrong with y'all? Some of y'all are stupid. All this man has to do is speak the word and it's done, bro. That's why I said the Ruach HaKodesh overshadowed her. He spoke that word and it was done. If you believe that this man created the whole heavens and earth by a word, I think you should be able to understand that he could inseminate a woman's womb with a word. But you niggas are so perverted and demented and your nasty, filthy heart that you need to have some type of sexual conquest going down. But you know what you need to do. Yeah, you got a bathroom. You need to make your way to it. You need to make sure you turn the light on. You don't need to call for Candyman. You need to look yourself in the mirror, put some lotion on your hands like you usually do. But instead of putting it on your loins, you need to slap yourself in the face for being stupid and nasty at that. Because there's certain stuff that these dudes say, man, why does your mind always go to sex all the time? Boy, you deprived, boy? I think some of these boys are deprived. You know what I'm saying? It might sound like I'm being funny, But I'm ever so serious. I believe some of these boys are deprived. You know what I'm saying? I know we could joke around with, oh, that's amazing, and Paul and all that. But look at, man, them just for jokes. In reality, man, I ain't thinking about no homosexual stuff, no heterosexual stuff. Man, my mind don't go to sexual things, man, when I hear certain things. I genuinely don't care. Some things I take the opportunity to crack jokes because I like to crack jokes. But in general, man, my mind ain't on that, bro. My mind ain't on that. Why is your mind on pleasure of your loins on a regular basis? Why does every word that you hear spark some type of thing about loins in your mind on a serious note? Well, that's not normal, cuz. That means you deprived. And because of that deprivation, you know what I'm saying? You spending a lot of time in the room doing some masturbation. And you need to stop. You know what I'm talking about? And some of you ain't just touching yourself, you masturbating in your mind because you around here formulating sexual acts in your mind. You need to get yourself together. Come on, man. 4 and 4. Proverb.
He taught me also and said unto me, let your heart retain my words.
Let your heart do what?
Retain my words.
And keep
my commandments and live.
Get wisdom.
And get understanding.
Forget it not.
Neither decline from the words of my mouth.
Forsake her not.
And she shall preserve.
Preserve means to keep you alive. Love her.
And she shall keep you.
Wisdom.
The principal thing.
That's the first thing.
Get wisdom.
With all you're getting.
Get understanding.
Pause. That man say when you get wisdom, it'll give your head an ornament of grace and a crown of glory to deliver you. Now, you know, Yahushua been made under you wisdom. And he trying to give you a crown of esteem. Didn't Paul say, I finished the course? A crown of life is laid up for me. You know what I'm talking about? But he say, when you get that wisdom, make sure you get understanding. Let's come to Proverbs, Job 28, I'm sorry. And let's go further. Because he said, where is wisdom found? Where's the place of understanding? Where can you find 28 and 12? Where shall wisdom be found? That's what he said, ain't it? Mm-hmm. Come on with it.
But where shall wisdom be found?
Where
is the place of understanding?
Man know not the
price thereof.
Neither is it found
in the land of the living.
Pause. Uh-oh. He said there ain't no price on it. And it can't be found in the land of the living. Somebody tell me what y'all think that means. We're not running by that. What y'all think that means? I gotta find this other hat, get it to the boy. I got one that's white. I don't really like that white. They get dirty. I thought the Ben gave that boy that hat. What y'all think that means? Don't get quiet on me now. He said you can't find it in the land of the living. I mean, is it rare to find a wise man? No, sir. Listen what he said. He said wisdom. He says man doesn't know the price of wisdom. Man doesn't know the price of understanding. And it's not found in the land of the living. I can allow that, Misha. It's not found in the land of the living. I did not know they came out with a Lion King movie, man. Tell you, I don't watch no commercials. Nor did I know that there was a Sonic movie. I'm not familiar with any of these things. When you look at price, it is Arek. It is Ayin, Rosh, and Ka. And that's the estimate of the valuation. You know, it's value, it's price. He say man doesn't know the value of it. And then, of course, Arash Kai. Neither can you Messiah it in the land of those who are alive. So where's the place where you would find it at? You know what I'm saying? What is the cost of it? Because if man don't know anything that's worth having, you're going to have to pay a price for it. You know what I'm talking about? There's a price that has to be paid for. Now, I know some people be like, but he said it's a free gift. Gifts is one thing. The price you pay is another. You know what I'm talking about? You say, except the corn of wheat fall in the ground. And I would see why you would say that. But let's take a look at something, right? Give me Acts chapter what? What that is? 5, man. What's back there? Give me Acts 5 and 10. Tell me what that says.
Then fell she down straightway at his feet and yielded up the ruach, and the young men came in and found her dead, and carrying forth buried her by her husband.
Come here, Joanne.
And great fear came upon all the assembly and upon as many as heard these things. And by the hands of the apostles were many signs and wonders wrought among the people. Mm-hmm. They were all with one accord in Solomon's porch. Mm-hmm. And of the rest durst no man join himself to them, but the people magnified them.
Come on.
And believers were the more added to the Lord, multitudes both of men and women, insomuch that they brought forth the sick into the streets, and laid on beds and couches, that at the least the shadow of Peter passing by might overshadow some of them.
Come on.
There came also a multitude of the cities round about unto Jerusalem, bringing sick folks, and them which were vexed with unclean ruachs, and they were healed every one.
Come on.
Then the high priest rose up, and all they that were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees, and were filled with indignation.
They mad.
And laid their hands on the apostles and put them in the common prison.
You mad, bro?
But the Malachim and Yahuwah, the Lord, by night, opened the prison doors and brought them forward.
I got to read too much. Might be chapter 8. Yeah, it's chapter 8. Yeah. 8 and 9. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that, y'all. Acts 8 and 9.
Say, but there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one.
Most of these people now giving out that they some great man.
To whom they all gave heed, from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of Elohim. And to him they had regard, because that of long time he had bewitched them with sorcery. But when they believed Philip preaching the things concerning the Malkuth of Elohim and the name of Yahushua Mashiach, they were baptized, both men and women.
Men and women.
Then Simon himself believed also. And when he was baptized, he continued with Philip and wondered, beholding the miracles and signs which were done. And when the apostles which were at Jerusalem heard that Samaria had received the word of Elohim, they sent unto them Peter and John, who, when they were come down, prayed for them that they might receive the Ruach HaKodesh. For as yet he was fallen upon none of them, only they were baptized in the name of the Lord Yahushua.
Listen.
Then laid they hands on them, and they received the Ruach HaKodesh.
Listen.
Simon saw that through laying on of the apostles' hands, the Ruach HaKodesh was given. He offered them money.
He offered them what?
Money.
When the Ruach HaKodesh was given, he offered them what?
Money.
Listen.
Saying, give me also this power, that whomsoever I lay hands, he may receive the Ruach HaKodesh.
Listen.
But Peter said unto him, your money perish with
you. You could die with that money.
Because you have thought that the gift of Elohim may be purchased with money.
You thought you could buy the gift of God with a little bit of change?
You have neither part nor lot in this matter, for your heart is not right in the sight of Elohim.
Your heart is not right before God.
Repent therefore of this your wickedness, and pray Elohim, if perhaps the thought of your heart may be forgiven.
Now Sean mentioned something, right? Come over here to Psalm 50 and 3. And what he mentioned, what he would say, the price of the sacrifice of life. Because he said, man don't know the price. The price for wisdom and understanding is your life. You know what I'm talking about? And he said if it ain't found in the land of the living, then where else would it be found at? It's found in the grave. And it's found in heaven. Remember what I'm getting ahead. Come on, what you over there smiling about? That's your mom. Joanne.
Say, our Elohim shall come and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. And he called to Shamahim from above into the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Gather my who?
My saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
He made a covenant by what?
By sacrifice.
Covenant by what?
By sacrifice.
What you think happened when you came out of Egypt? Well, he made a covenant with you by sacrifice. When he sacrificed all the firstborn of the Egyptians, because the Egyptians sacrificed all your firstborn, so he gave them the same thing in total. I just added that wasn't necessary. But let's continue. Let's go over here to Matthew 26 and 28 on general principle. Come on with it.
But this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
It's shed for many for what?
The remission of sins.
Is this not a covenant by sacrifice? Now, come on, give me Ephesians 4 and 6 on general principle. I could read Psalm 66, but we just read it the other day. After you read this, give me Psalm 68, man. You can pick me up in verse 4. That's how I feel.
One Elohim and above all, who is above all,
and through all,
and in you all.
Mm-hmm.
But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Hamashiach.
According to the measure of the what?
Of the gift of Hamashiach.
Listen what he say.
Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive,
and
gave gifts unto men.
And
now that he ascended, what is it but he that also descended first into the lower parts?
But before he ascended, he did what?
Descended.
Before he ascended, he did what?
Descended.
Before he ascended, he did what?
Descended.
Isaiah 14:12. Y'all finna drink some coffee at this juncture? Hot chocolate. It ain't no Swiss Miss. Y'all got Swiss women in this house? I didn't know we kept Norwegians hidden in here. Come on.
How are you falling from Shamaim, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
How you falling from where?
Shamaim, O Lucifer, son of the morning.
What?
Are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation?
Somebody say, what it mean to weaken? Tell them what weaken is, man. You weaken the nations? Joanne?
That's Kalash, to be weak, to be prostrate.
How did he make the nations prostrate? Because he said every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. That's how he weakened the nations. Man, Satan ain't got nobody bowing down to him, man. Niggas only bowing down to Satan so they can get some victuals. Because your God is your belly. Little Esau boy. Come on.
For you have said in your heart, I'll ascend into Shamaim.
He said in your heart to do what?
I'll ascend into Shamaim.
Ain't that what Paul just said the man would do? Didn't the Lord say, what and if you shall see me ascend to where I was before? Come on.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim.
I will exalt my throne above the Kokav.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation.
The mount of the congregation is in Jerusalem.
In the sides of the north.
Come on.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
But he say, but before he ascend above the heights of the cloud, what got to happen first?
Yeah, you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
Ain't that what Ephesians 4 just said? Read Ephesians 4 again where you stop. But let's make sure that's what that said. Before he could ascend to give you this gift, he had to go down to the pit. Because guess what you didn't have before he went down in the pit? You ain't had no wisdom and understanding. Not like you thought you did. Because remember, we read it on Wednesday, and he said, and he opened up the scriptures that they might what? Understand the scriptures. Because he said wisdom and understanding were not found in the land of the living. That baby sneezing. Come on with me. Ephesians 4 and what?
Verse 9.
Verse 9.
Say, now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first?
Descended what?
Descended first.
Notice that in Isaiah 14 it said, before he did all that ascending to sit upon the mount of the congregation, to exalt his throne above the stars, to be like the Most High, he had to go down in the sides of the grave first. Now, of course, Paul tell you in 1 Corinthians 1 and 30 that Mashiach has been made unto us wisdom, sanctification, and righteousness. You know what I'm talking about? And that we know that the Son of Elohim is come. Ain't that what he said? And giving us an understanding that we may know him that is true, and that we're in him that is true. Even his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim in eternal life. You did not have this understanding until he went in the grave. Remember, the law and the prophets was until John. Till now, the kingdom of heaven is what? Preached. And all men are pressed into it. And that's why he said, I will give you pastors according to my heart, and they will feed you with knowledge and understanding. Because he said the principal thing is wisdom, but in all you're getting, what you need to get, understand. To have skill, but don't know why or when you should use the skill, your wisdom is useless. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people tell you wisdom is applied knowledge. And I get that, but wisdom is skill. So when you're skillful in something, you would know when to do it and when not to do it. If you got skill, but you don't know when to use the skill, what's the point of the skill? If you got skill and you don't understand how to use the skill, and not only how to use the skill, but use the skill to not only be beneficial to yourself, but be beneficial to others, your wisdom is worthless. It's worthless. You just a skillful nigga for nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Unless you just want to boast of how skillful you are. But what good if the skill doesn't benefit you? And again, when I say benefit you, what's the use of having skill if your skill is not beneficial to people other than yourself? Joanne.
She said her uncle is doing his work.
Oh, your uncle doing his work? How about you come over here with your dad? You don't want to come over here with your dad? You old baby. You old lady baby. Well, she came in here earlier, folded on, and say Donnie is mad. Yeah, she said, I'm angry. At least she can communicate the fact that she is upset. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna help cultivate that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Say like training in the armory, but when it's time for combat, you ain't got no bullet. Shoot, it's like training in the armory when it's time for combat, you scared to shoot. Or you forgot how to shoot. You freeze up. But that's out of fear, though. That's different. We ain't gonna do it like that. Sometimes, because of course, taking live rounds is something totally different. You know, one thing training at the gun range is one thing. Taking live rounds is another. You know what I'm saying?
I can't fully prepare you.
No, hell no, I can't fully prepare you. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people will ridicule some people who freeze up in situations when live rounds are taken. And it's real easy to say that if you've never had the experience of being shot at. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's tough when ain't no bullets flying. But when you see that muzzle, you see that fire come off that muzzle, you know what I'm talking about? Man, that junk can change your whole perspective of life. Man, if you've ever seen what a hot lead do to flesh, man, that junk, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to say about nobody who frees up, man, in certain situations, unless you was walking around here talking like you just can't see faded and you the most hardest killer ever to walk the face of the earth, or you some type of super soldier, you know what I'm saying? Then I would expect you to be able to stay calm under pressure in that type of situation. But man, look here, man, it's real easy to say something you ain't never took bullets before, man. If you ain't never had to shoot at somebody, if you ain't never had nobody volley shots at you, nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Man, you ain't got no room to say nothing to nobody, man. He say, definitely a scary sight to see. Straight up and down. I don't care how tough you think you is. Man, look here, man, and I know Mama Steph can speak to it, and I know probably Marvin and Robert can speak to it, Mika probably too, man. Man, the toughest and bravest individuals will tell you that they were terrified in those situations. You know what I'm talking about? See, bravery is courage, you know, is the fortitude to overcome your fear in stressful situations. That's what makes you brave, not that old extra rah-rah tough stuff, man. Them people tell you, man, I'm a human being. Nigga, I was scared. You know what I'm talking about? I was straight down, man. I was scared. They just didn't let their fear paralyze them. You know what I'm saying? Some people it does. You say getting shot at is one of the scariest experiences ever. Thankfully, I haven't seen someone actually get shot. I've seen somebody get shot before. That jump was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Shalom, Brother Marvel. That jump, that was crazy. And not because he got shot, but, you know, everything that preceded and the shooting. And then everything that happened after the fact. That was crazy. I'll never forget that jump. Now, I definitely thought that night I was going to see a man lose his life because that nigga definitely was trying to kill him in that gun jam. Mama Steph said when she got shot, I just knew it was over. Time slowed. And son lived and shot back. Shoot, I bet. Now I tell you, he was out there in Whispering Palms. Them boy was going back and forth. Nigga, I went to school with both of them. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to mention his name. We never got arrested for it, man. I ain't gonna mention it. Well, I ain't gonna have a real name. But either way it go, brother and they arguing. Jamaican dude in the middle. He was like, no, man, no. That nigga reached around with that pistol, bah! And shot my other dog in the shoulder. He said, oh, no, man. And he got out the way. You know what I'm talking about? The dog hit, and he came up to him, and he went to hit him again in the gun jam. You know what I'm saying? I said, boy. And I'm just sitting there with somebody, I forgot who else. It was like one or two other people standing out there with us. You know what I'm saying? It's at nighttime. At this time, I think I'm like 19. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, boy, he was finna kill cuz. You know what I'm saying? Then when the police came, they was like, tell us who shot you. And he was like, I don't know. He said, if you don't tell me who shot you, I'm going to let you die. We was like, damn, it's like that. That's how you going to get the information out of him? You know what I'm saying? He ain't never tell. Cuz ain't never go to jail for it as far as I know. You know what I'm saying? They ain't ask us nothing. Shoot, I ain't had nothing to tell them anyway. Ain't none of my business.
That sounds crazy. I'm going to let you die.
Well, that's JSO for you. But they figured saying something like that, because the ambulance was already coming. You know what I'm saying? He figured saying something like that would make you, say what they wanted you to say. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just sitting there looking at, boy, I'm talking about that bullet ripped through his shoulder. You know what I'm talking about? But it was more so the fact of what they were arguing about. I don't even think it was worth bruh doing all that. But he would definitely finna kill him. You know what I'm saying? And in a situation like that, you don't know if he want to shoot you because you standing there looking. Because we ain't expecting that to break out. You know what I'm saying? One time dude tried to rob my homeboy them of their weed, and they shot in the house, and the bullet went through the floor to the next door, the downstairs neighbor apartment, went straight through his bed. Thank the Lord that man said he fell asleep on the couch. You know what I'm talking about? He said, any other night, man, I'd have been in the bed. He said, tonight, man, I'm just sitting on the couch watching TV and doze. This stuff like that, it'd be like, well, the Lord spare your life, you don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Because, boy, he was good at dead, man. I'm talking about that bullet went straight through where his head would have been. Shotgun, double barrel. You know what I'm saying? All that for a little bit of weed. You know what I'm saying? A couple pounds of weed, man. Ain't nobody life worth no couple pounds of weed, man. But yeah, man. Getting shot. Shoot, somebody pulling a gun on you. Some people lose their brain when somebody pull a gun on them. You know what I'm saying? And that's the purpose of being trained in the word, to be able to stay calm. God bless Brother Smoke and pressure-filled situations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was the same time period. I was about 19. You know what I'm saying? That was my dog. Matter of fact, the dude who they hit him in the mouth with the shotgun, he passed away, man. Nigga murdered him in like 2000. It had to be when I was in prison, man. That junk hurt my soul when I found out my nigga was gone, man. Go ahead. Where we at?
Ephesians 4:9.
Oh, we good with that. We good with that. So come over to verse 14, Joel 28.
You want that Psalm 68, I think.
Oh yeah, Psalm 68 and 4. Oh, you gotta wait, sis. You gotta wait.
Say, sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name.
Sing what?
Sing praises to his name.
Mm-hmm.
Extol him that ride upon Shamahim by his name. Yah, rejoice before him.
Mm-hmm.
A father of the fatherless.
A father of the who?
Of the fatherless.
What else?
The judge of the widows.
Judge of the who?
Judge of the widows.
Remember, y'all, a widow is a woman whose husband has died. If you have not been married and your husband ain't died, you are not a widow. You're not a widow because you had a child out of wedlock. Your children ain't fatherless if their daddy is alive and you still alive. You can't take modern situations and circumstances and make them fit what that is. A fatherless child is an orphan. You understand? That is an orphan. And that is when you are underage. Underage scripturally is 19 years old. You know what I'm talking about? When you are 20 years and upward, you are of age. You know this because of numbers, because he said everyone 20 years old and upward, what? You ain't getting in. You know what I'm talking about? Huh, let me read that for you. Come over here to number 14. You stay where you at, sis. Because remember the blind man, what his parents said, he's of age. What they said, ask him. Numbers 14, verse I want, and 29. He said, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you according to your whole number from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless you shall not come into the land which I swear to make you dwell therein. Save Caleb, the son of Yephthah, and Yahushua, the son of Nun. So 20 years old is when you're of age. He said, that's kind of what happened with me and Sean. The bullets literally went where our heads were, and we just happened to see the first one come through the wall in front of us and duck. So I think it was a wrong place, wrong. Well, praise Yahuwah for that. Most definitely. But yeah. 20 years old is when you are of age. You know what I'm saying? Once you hit over 20 years old, you're not considered to be fatherless per se. You know what I'm saying? Because you are of age. You know what I'm talking about? Which means you can take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not perpetually fatherless when you're saying this here, meaning that it's the assembly's job to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? You're of age, you can take care of yourself. You know what I'm talking about? But 19 and under, that's the congregation's job to take care of them. You know what I'm saying? If they don't have their parents. Let me give you that word. Just stay where you at. Let me give y'all that word so y'all can see this clearly. What this means. What was that with it? Boom, verse 5. So he's an Abba to the fatherless. This is Yathon. Yad, Ta'u and Meme. This is an orphan, fatherless, a bereaved person. I mean, someone has died. You know what I'm talking about? Now, he tell you, of course, you're not a widow indeed, unless 60 plus years old. Widow, almanah, a widow. And it can also correspond to a desolate place, a city that has been destroyed. That's what that is. You know, because a lot of times people say, oh, she's a widow. Oh, she's a fatherless child. That's a fatherless child, but his daddy's alive. But he just don't take care of him. That child's not fatherless. His daddy's a buster. That goes into when he say, if you don't take care of your own, you have to die in the faith and you are an infidel. He doesn't consider them to be fathers. He considers their father to be an unbeliever. You know what I'm saying? You have to know these things specifically as forth its order of operation and execution in these things. That doesn't mean that you say, screw this lady and her kids. That's not what's being said. What's being said is you can't use the law and say this child fits this or this person fits that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she's a widow because she had 2 kids from 2 dudes and they're not there. She's not a widow because she was never married. To be a widow, you must see that. I'm mentioning this because you know what that is? Lowering the standard. That's why I'm mentioning that. You don't have to like it. You're only not going to like it if you don't meet that standard. Because in order to be a widow, you need to be married first. You can't claim the benefit of a widow and you were never married because the standard says you must have been married and your husband has to have died. That's what the standard says. It's not my standard. You know what I'm talking about? That's his standard. Take it up with him when you see him. Go ahead, man.
Said, Father of the fatherless and the judge of the widows, Elohim in his Kadash habitation.
Listen.
Elohim set the solitary and families. He bring out those which are bound with chains.
But the rebellious dwell where?
In the dry.
Let me tell y'all what he said when he said he set the solitary in families. You know what this is, y'all? Yaked. He set the only begotten son amongst the families. That's what he said. And families here is ba, in the house. Now you can look at it as house, dwelling place, habitation, human bodies, Sheol, the abode of light and darkness, a house containing a family, a household, a family of descendants, an organized body. So what you think he mean when he said he set the Yaked or the only begotten in the families? Genesis 12:1, if you would, sir.
Now Yahuwah has said unto Abram, get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you. Now I'll make of you a great nation.
Making you a who?
A great nation.
And what else?
I will baruch you and make your name great.
And what else?
You shall be a blessing.
You shall be a who?
A blessing.
And
I will baruch them that baruch you.
And curse them
that curse you.
And in you
shall all families of the earth be baruched.
John 3:14. This is how you see that God set the only begotten in the household. My God.
And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world
that he gave
his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish.
Should not what?
Should not perish,
but should have
everlasting life.
This is how he set the solitary or the only begotten in the house. Because remember, where's wisdom? Who found wisdom? Where's the place of understanding? Man don't know the price. And she don't dwell in the land of the living. That's what he said. Come on back to Psalm 68 and read verse 6 for him one more time.
Said Elohim set the solitary families.
And when he set the Yaked in the household, what does he do? He bring out what?
Those which are bound with chains.
Didn't he say that he came to set the prisoners free? Well, what are you a prisoner to? Sin and death. So again, he make him a blessing. Listen what he said, but the rebellious dwell where?
In a dry.
In the valley of Tophet, where the worm dies not, and the fire shall not be quenched. You're going to hell. Verse 7.
Oh, Elohim, when you went forth before your people, when you did march through the wilderness.
The earth what?
Shook.
The heavens.
Also drop at the presence of Elohim.
Sinai.
Itself at the presence of Elohim.
The Elohim.
A Yasharal.
You.
Oh, Elohim.
Did sin.
A plentiful rain.
Wherefore?
You did confirm your inheritance.
When it was what?
Weary.
Tell him what I got. Let me tell you, he said he'll confirm your inheritance, right? Confirm is kun. Ka, u, and nun. That's to be firm, to set up, to establish, to be directed to right, to be fixed, to be arranged. He said he's fixed and established him when you were weary. Weary is la'ah, lamad, aleph, and hey. That's to be weary, to be impatient, to be grieved, to make weary. Was not the Lord weary when he said he was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death? Did he not say that, Paul say that even though our outward man perished, inwardly we are renewed day by day, referring back to Isaiah 40, which we talk about a lot? He said he confirmed his inheritance. He confirmed Yahushua when he was weary. That's why the book say he say confirming the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, because through much tribulation must you go through to inherit the kingdom of Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? That's why you don't need to worry about the things that you may have to endure, because all of it is for your perfection. That's the part of the training. That's the part of the chastisement. The training is you're made perfect through sufferings. It said the captain of our salvation was made perfect through sufferings. Your perfection or your instruction or your chastisement and your teaching is going to come through the things that you suffer. You know what I'm talking about? Because this is where the best way to perfect any man is to take him through adversity. You know what I'm talking about? When you look at what you experienced when you went through basic training, when you go back and you look in your life and the things that you learned, the majority of your greatest lessons you learned in periods of adversity. You know what I'm talking about? Because this is when you begin to see your mettle as a person, as a man, as a woman. This is when your heart gets shown, because anybody can be anything in times of peace and prosperity. Anyone can do that. When you see the text, when you look at David, you see how David's heart was continually reflected in his times of adversity. It showed who he really was. And he was a godly man. You know what I'm saying? That's why when people be like, I don't see people talking about they marrying people in 3-4 months. That's your business. If you want to do that, I couldn't do it, because I don't know this woman until I see how she handles adversity. And I'm talking about, it don't have to be extreme life adversities. You know what I'm saying? All it has to be is just an adverse situation, an uncomfortable situation. How do they respond to that? How do they handle that? Because that's who they really are. When he say he take you through the furnace of affliction, when this man tell you that you'll have the baptism of fire, when he telling you that he purging you so you bring forth more fruit, when he say, hey, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, who can know it? I, Yahuwah, search the heart and the reins. He's searching the heart and the reins through the afflictions that you go through to show forth who you really are. Because that's when you're going to see everybody look good when things are good. Everybody got pristine character when things are good. But who are they when things are bad? People like to use that verse when Paul saying, I can do all things in the Mashiach who strengthened me. That man was talking about the things he was suffering when he said that. Let me read that to you real quick. Say the plentiful rain and inheritance will be the Ruach. The inheritance is Yasharal himself. Yeah, the inheritance part is Yasharal itself. And in this instance, gospel-wise, it's Mashiach, but the inheritance is Yasharal as a people, as a whole. That's Philippians 4, by the way, that I'm going to go grab. Right here in verse 11. I'm sorry, verse 10, Philippians 4 and 10. But I rejoice in the Lord greatly now that at your last care of me have flourished again, wherein are also careful, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am to be content. Remember, I was telling you about that lady who was talking about the Proverbs 31 man was rich. She read this talking about this is how you know that he was rich. He said, she told me, he's content in times of, this ain't talking about no money. This is a man who preaching the word, who was suffering for the gospel's sake, going through a multitude of things to get the word out to the people, knowing that it was people who was ready to attend to his necessities. And he like, man, I ain't even worried about that. This is what I mean by some people don't need to be touching no word, man. You can grab passages and verses and make them mean whatever you want them to mean when you wicked as hell. So again, he said, not that I speak in respect of one, for I've learned in whatsoever state I am to be content. I know how to both be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through a Mashiach, which strengthen me. That's not talking about how people like to grab it. That man say, man, he has taught me, again, the Musar, how to be without, how to have a lie. But either way it go, I got to get this work done. And then, of course, he will strengthen you in the inward man. You know why he will strengthen you? You know we don't need no excuse. Isaiah 26 and 3. This is how he strengthened you. You know why a lot of people weaken the word? Because they ain't took heed to this right here.
You will keep in perfect shalom whose mind is stayed on
You'll keep him in perfect what?
Shalom.
Whose mind is what?
Stayed on
His
you.
mind is stayed on you because of what?
He trusted you.
Because your mind is stayed on you, who is because you trust in him. Trust in who?
Yahuwah forever.
Because he's what?
Everlasting strength.
Trust in Yahuwah forever. When he say Mashiach can strengthen him, he can strengthen him because his mind is stayed on it because he trusts in it. Because where the word of the king is, there's power. That's why the Malachim was able to come strengthen the son when he was weary, because his mind was stayed on his father. Therefore, because he trusted in him and he can give him that strength. More people not getting that strength because they don't trust in him. You see why he said you got to buy the truth? That's why you got to buy the Amath. That's why you got to purchase that. When you go seek to acquire and possess that, that's the genesis of your strength. But see, we not told to do that. That's why so many people weak and they fall off. Remember, I tell you this all the time, what he told Peter, when you're converted, do what? Well, how you think he's strengthening them? He's strengthening them with words of faith. You can't strengthen your brother with the law, man. How that's going to make him strong? And what I mean by that is when you go through some level of adversity, when there's some level of affliction, when there's some level of tribulation, what is thou shalt not eat pork chops going to do for you? What is thou shalt keep the Shabbat or keep the Feast of Weeks? What is that going to do for you in that time? When Mashiach was exceedingly sorrowful unto death, ain't nobody come talk to this man about no 613 commandments, man. And if somebody's going through a time of affliction, tribulation, and sorrow, and you come to them talking about some commandments, that nigga need to punch you in your mouth. Because you an idiot. And you damn sure don't know how to be no friend. You know what I'm talking about? Because that ain't what they need. Remember what he said to his apostles? He said, you couldn't wash with me before for 1 hour? That man said, man, I'm so depressed, I want to die. Now, how many of y'all have been in a time period in your life, but boy, you were so sad you wish you was dead? Because that's what he was going through. I guarantee you, if you had that type of thought process, if you didn't have somebody, you would have wished somebody was there to be able to talk to you. To be able to strengthen, to give you, what does the word encourage mean? To add courage, man. You know what I'm talking about? The courage come through the trust in Yahuwah. Not talking to a nigga about you need to offer some turtle doves. That's why people don't hold on to the word, because you niggas are stupid. I'm not talking about y'all per se. I'm talking about the people who tell us this stupid type of stuff, man. Because that's not good, because nobody pays attention. That's when people say this walk is lonely, this walk is hard. This walk is lonely for a lot of you niggas because you don't know how to be a friend. He say a man who have friends must show himself what? Friendly. That's why it's lonely, because you niggas don't know how to be a friend, much less a brother. Of course, when you don't know how to be a brother and a friend, it's going to be lonely for you because you're antisocial. You run people away. You're socially awkward. You're selfish. You're proud, you're arrogant. Don't nobody want to hang with you. Nobody want to talk to you. Some of y'all like to throw pity parties and wallow in your sorrow. Man, don't nobody want to deal with that, man, because you're miserable. Then people say this way is hard. This way ain't hard, man. This way easy. That man say his burden is light. You know why this thing hard, man? Because you don't believe. You know what I'm talking about? He didn't remember. He said, now, in the world you'll have tribulation. He said, but be of good what? Cheer. He said, because I've overcome the world, meaning your mind will be on God. He know you're going to have trouble in the world, man. You a human being. Ain't nobody saying that the things that you experience in life, you're not going to be sad, upset, frustrated. You know what I'm talking about? You are a human being. To say anything else is a lie. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you can be down low. Yeah, you can be depressed enough to the point you feel like you want to die. The Lord was that depressed. So I'm not going to tell you that you can't be that depressed. That is ridiculous. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to tell you that because that's not true. You know why a lot of people fumble with that? Because dudes don't be real with you while you in the word that yes, you are allowed. That man said we are subject to like passions. As Elijah and all of them, you subject to all that. You are a person, a human being. You're flesh and blood. You have emotions. You have thoughts. You have feelings. You can get angry. You can get sad. You can be frustrated. You can go through all of that. The point is your mind stayed on him because you trust in him so that you can trust in Yahuwah forever and that be your everlasting strength. In those times when you are weak, get him Isaiah 40 and 29. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want none of y'all to be like, you think because you in the word that now these type of things are supposed to go away. Because they don't. Remember, man, and I know y'all know the saying. I know y'all know it for the most part. What you go through in life means nothing. It's how you respond to it. You know what I'm saying? That's the important thing. You're going to go through things. It's how you respond. Your response is going to dictate what manner of man or woman you are. Some people respond, and let's hear right. And just because you don't respond well in some situations doesn't mean that you're a terrible, horrible individual. You take that situation and you learn what you can do better, so that if you ever face that situation again, you don't follow that same pattern of behavior. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Take it as a learning experience. Okay, I faced this little tribulation. I went through this. I went through that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't handle it in the most ideal way or the way that I thought I would or I would have desired to. Let me look at why did I respond? What was I feeling? Like, you have to be self-aware. You got to be honest with yourself, man. But you must remember you are a human being. You're subject to like passions. The book tell you that this man know your frame, that you're but dust. So he already knows who you are and what. And he's not expecting what you're expecting from yourself when it comes to certain things, man. He's not expecting that from you. You did? Come on with it.
He said he give power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increase strength.
To them that have no might, he do what?
Increase strength.
He do what?
Increase
Let
strength.
Yahuwah be esteemed.
Even the youth shall faint and be weary.
Talk to him.
And the young men shall utterly fall.
That's right.
But they that wait upon Yahuwah,
those that wait upon Yahuwah
shall renew strength
day by day.
They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run.
If you wait upon Yahuwah, he will give you new strength. That's what you have to remember. Yahushua waited on Yahuwah. He renewed his strength. That's simple. It's right there. You can see that. You can see that tangibly. Ain't none of us at no point where somebody's finna take you and kill you. And you ain't did nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? But you take that and you say, okay, how my strength be renewed? By waiting on Yahuwah. My mind being stayed on him because I trust in him. Because life is going to happen. You understand? Things is going to happen. That's just life. That just is what it is. And the reality is, before you was in the word, and 50 said it poignantly on many men, which is, life is hard. It can leave you physically, mentally, and emotionally scarred. And the reality is that we all know someone who is mentally or emotionally or mentally scarred by the things that they experienced in life. You know what I'm saying? Whether the word is involved or not. You know this. You've seen this. If you've lived long enough, you have seen that. God forbid that life had you mentally or emotionally scarred at one particular time. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to know that just because, oh, you serving, people think, oh, you come and serve God now, and now nothing negative can happen to you. That's why when negative stuff happens, that's why you say when persecution or tribulation arises because of the word, by and by they are offended because people get in their mind that that's not supposed to happen. And you know where it comes from? Unlearned people espousing that to them. You know what I'm saying? And that's not the reality, man. Life is still going to be there. That man literally said in John 16, I said it once already, I'm going to say it again. He said, in the world, you're going to have tribulation. He also said, I didn't ask you to take them out of the world. He said, I asked you to deliver them from the evil. Because he already knows to be in the world is to be surrounded by evil. We know the whole world lie in wickedness. You know what I'm saying? Like when people say, that means the white man running the world, the earth is giving it to the hands of the weak. That don't mean no white people running the world, silly man. The whole world is lying in wickedness. No matter the nationality of people, they evil as hell. And when I say evil as hell, I'm talking about evil as the grave. Because Yahuwah never intended for the grave. That's a disagreeable thing. The grave is disagreeable to man because your thoughts are extinguished in that day. That's not agreeable to Yahuwah. Yahuwah is not the Elohim of death. He told you he's the Elohim of the living. Come on with it, man. What we at? We at with it, sir.
Isaiah 40.
Oh, we good. Come on back to Joel 28. 28 and 14. And all this is stemming from what a preacher is forth as a collector of sentences. And how he get good heed and he give the people knowledge. We got to finish Psalm 68. That's what we in Psalm 68 and 9. And then we'll go back to Job 28.
Say you, O Elohim, did send a plentiful rain, whereby you did confirm your inheritance when it was weary.
When it was weary.
Your congregation that dwelt therein,
O Elohim,
have prepared of your goodness for the poor.
The Lord
gave the word.
The Lord
gave the word.
Great.
The company of those that published.
Pause. That's what we came here for. Now, when you look at gave the word, here is Omer. Aleph, Meme, and Rosh. This is an utterance, a promise, a saying, a command. But more important, the Lord gave the promise. Gave is Nathan. That's Noon, Tau, and Noon. And that's the give. So the Lord gave the promise. So what does it say when you got word? Now, great is the company of those that published it. Company, of course, you know, it's Sabah, that's an army or a host. But you know what published is, man? Basar, the word for gospel, to announce salvation, to bear good tidings. So what is it actually saying there to us? The Lord gave the promise. Great was the army of those that preached the gospel. Notice he didn't say who gave you the law. Now, Lord here is Adonai. This is my Lord, Lord of men, of God, Lord, title spoken in place of Yahuwah in Jewish display of reverence. Because we was having this conversation the other day, and it was actually based on things that a lot of Godhead people want to argue about. What's the difference between Lord, Lord, and Lord? Because it's three different words that are used for Lord, really four. You have Adon, you have Adonai, you have Baal, and then you have, when they say Lord God and Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? And you have to look at which one in context to see which one it is. But these are things pertaining that people like to argue about. Did Yahuwah appear to this person or was it an angel? God had conversations that we don't participate in. You know what I'm talking about? But in this instance, it's talking about Adonai or the Lord, the Lord of Lords. He gave a promise. And great is the army of those who basar or publish good tidings. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to what we were talking about in what you call it? Get it for me, man. First Chronicles 16:23. I'll pick it up in Job 28 for time's sake.
Sing unto Yahuwah all the earth. Show forth from day to day his salvation.
Show forth day to day and what?
His salvation.
Tell him what show mean, man. Show me the money. Are you from Missouri?
Show forth his basar.
You need to be showing forth his good news. His good news. Tidings. Salvation. Let me ask y'all a question. How many of y'all would rather have good news or bad news on a regular basis? You know, just let me know. You know, you ain't got to rush yourself. Just let me know. How many of y'all would rather have good news or bad news on a regular basis? Consistently, if you would.
Like most people take the good news.
Most people take the good news. That's what Civic said. Joanne, you want good news or bad news, Joanne? You helping mommy? But do you want good news or bad news?
That's what the doctor said.
Huh? Yeah, Joanne, be focused now.
Doctor's like, you want the bad news first, you want the good news?
I don't want no bad news, nigga. Come in, we talking about you want the good news or the bad news. Bring me no bad news, nigga. You say you'll take the good news for 1,000, Alex. Ain't that something? I got good news and bad news. Which one you want? You should have kept the bad news. Hey, you bringing me that for? And you think you tempering it with some good news? Who the hell bring good and bad news? Only people do that is the newspaper. I asked that question for a reason. I give anybody else who wants to answer it an opportunity to, but I asked that question for a reason. You want good news or bad news? You know what tripping right there? The dog on here right now. He said, and I know the person he was mentioning to. He said he showed. She was like, you know, he said that boy bring the word, but he too hood for me. I said that's amazing because she from the hood. But some people feel like that. I wouldn't even refer to myself as being good, if you would. Just very straightforward. And I may use language that some people may not prefer. I'm offended by that. I remember what's name wife was offended at my attire. She said he don't dress like a preacher. I said, how are preachers supposed to dress?
I know it was preacher attire.
Sister Regina say good news. Personally, a bit of both because I can't see life without challenges and obstacles. I understand. I respect that perspective. You keep that bad news. I don't want that.
That's a good question. How they thought Paul and Peter and y'all. How they thought that dream?
I don't know how they thought. That's why I asked it. That's why I asked that question. How does a preacher dress? Remember when what's the name was mad to my why you wear your hat backwards? I was like, why you care? You know what I'm saying? Say fringes, brother. Purple robes is how they supposed to dress. I'm talking about they mad like he got on t-shirts.
They wear jerseys.
Ain't listening to nothing I'm saying. Where his suit at? Where your Hebrew garments at, brother?
If you ain't done it, they can't receive your word.
Mm-hmm. They can receive something all right. This left size 11 up their butt. Indeed. And that's why I asked that question. The good news is because when you coming at people with the law, that's bad news. You say sometimes no news. No, I get you. I'm just busting the ball. Well, I wasn't even referring to what you said in the period. I'm just being funny at the moment. But in all seriousness, I asked you that question because when you bring the gospel, that brings good news, and there's never bad news contained in that good news. That's right. The law brings wrath. So when you bring in the law to people, you bring in bad news because you're bringing condemnation. If they're contrary to the law, that is not good news for them. But they got to repent. Repentance in itself is not the good news. The good news is the mercy, grace, and long suffering and forgiveness of Elohim through the death, burial, and resurrection of his son and the gift of everlasting life that come from the Ruach HaKadosh thereof. That's good news because I'm in a state of a battle that I can't win. He said there's no discharge in that battle between life and death. So I'm mired in sin and death, and I've been come to set. Let me tell you something, right? Because we read that he said he break the bounds of the prison. Let me tell you something. If you ain't never been locked up before, I ain't talking about you went to prison and got sentenced because you know when you're getting out. You know what I'm talking about? But if you ain't never been locked up before and you in the county, and you facing you unsentenced, you go on to court. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing in the world like sitting in there and you hear bursting, pack it up, and you ain't think you was going nowhere. They done dropped them charges, man. You ain't know you were going home. You ain't know somebody came and paid the bond. Ain't nobody, you ain't called home and somebody say, oh, we got your bail money, bro. We coming to get you. You know what I'm talking about? And you sitting in there thinking you don't know how long you finna be accosted, and now you've been set free. Well, that's good news when you hear that across that speaker, and they say, pack it up. You've been set free. You know what I'm talking about? But guess what? When you was in there, you was in that jailhouse because you broke some laws. You was in what? Condemnation. Amen, Mother's Room. You was in condemnation. See, when you sit back and you done committed adultery, you done committed fornication, you done committed idolatry, you done told lies, you done did all this stuff. Well, that's the same as being in the county jail waiting to get sentenced. And then here comes somebody with the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach with the gospel, and all you hear is, pack it up. You're going home. You're free today. I freed you from the prison's house. Your bonds have been broken. Now tell me which one you want to hear. You understand what I'm telling you? But that's how you have to literally look at that. You've been set free. The law didn't set you free. It couldn't set you free. But here comes God. He said, I'll set you free. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm talking about? He said, but go ahead and make sure you sin no more. Because if you sin again, well, you're going back in. And it's going to be worse for you now. Because you know what I'm talking about? Because Nasty Nate coming around the corner looking for your applesauce. You know what I'm talking about? And you're going to be around there talking about, no, Nasty Nate. Forbidden jungle of love. She said, Grandma used to sing, you're going to need somebody on your bond. Amen. You're going to need you who on your bond, baby. That's a surety bond. Ain't that what he said? He made a surety for you. A surety bond say, I'm going to put I'm the collateral. That's what a surety bond is. That's collateral. That man said, I made my body the collateral. My bond was the collateral. You didn't have to pay nothing on the bond. And guess what? Niggas get out of jail, go right back. You know what I'm talking about? How you get out of jail and go right back? Well, you like boys? Or some people, all jokes aside, because that's what some people say when you go back and forth in jails because you like boys. But Civic knows just like I know, well, criminality is the only thing some people know. You know what I'm saying? And they can't let it go.
Others, they need a place to stay.
You know what I'm saying? Some of them need a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? I know we crack jokes about that, but it's not necessarily that individuals are gay. You know what I'm saying? All jokes aside.
People, they get comfortable when they say, I like it here.
I like it here. I like it in sin.
Right.
I like it in rebellion. I like it in transgression because it's pleasurable for me here. It's easy for me here. There's no discipline for me here. There's no training for me here. There's no consistency for me here. It's loose. You know what I'm saying? It's loose. And that's why people like it. You know what I mean?
Some people, you see, they get happier as they release, they get closer. They like, well, I ain't coming back.
Then you got people who just like what the Lord said about Mary. He said, he that gonna get it for him. Luke 7:44. Let you who would be esteemed. I'm still holding Job 28:14. Y'all don't realize that the verse that we looking at is what? The words of the wise as goads. These things are supposed to motivate us to produce a particular behavior. Go ahead.
It said, he turned to the woman and said unto Simon, see you this woman? I entered into your house. You gave me no water.
You ain't give me no water for my feet.
She had washed my feet with tears.
Tears.
And wiped with the hairs of her head.
You ain't bring a towel. She used the hair, nigga.
You gave me no kiss. But this woman, since the time I
see,
came
like
in,
this is the first thing people scream. See, they gay. He kissing niggas. You know what's wrong with you niggas? You niggas are faggots. You know what I'm talking about? Most of these dudes who always read stuff and want to scream somebody gay is because you all have underlying homoerotic tendencies. You around here daydreaming about humping and kissing on a man because you would know culturally that these men kissed one another on the cheek and they thought nothing of it because they wasn't worried about having sex with no man. I don't want to hear this junk about his trannies. What a tranny got to do with you thinking about gay stuff all the time? You know what I'm talking about? When you see certain stuff, man, the people didn't live how they live. The poor weren't concerned about, I don't want to be gay. They already knew they wasn't gay. They ain't kidding nothing about that. That's my brother. I love this nigga. What's wrong with you?
Showing love.
They're just showing love. Y'all niggas say, you mad because your daddy ain't hug and kiss you. Now you upset. Now you think if a man hug and kiss somebody, he won't booty hole. No, you won't booty hole. You know what I'm saying? I said the pause there, that's just for jokes. You know what I'm saying? But some of these boys gay for real. And I say that because it's people who read certain stuff. Like somebody was talking about the Lord being gay for taking his clothes off and putting on the towel. You ever thought the man didn't want to mess up his clothes, nigga? Did it ever run across your mind that he didn't want to get his clothes wet? But all you think about is a man ding-a-ling because you gay. That ain't run across nobody's mind because after he finished washing everybody's feet, he said he put his clothes back on. They want to think about gay stuff and not the fact this man was showing that even as the king, he could humble himself and serve his constituency. They missed the point. When he said, if I, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, he said, you should wash one another's feet and bless you if you do this, because he was teaching them that even me being greater than all of you, I can serve you. Go do the same. Go do the same. Go do the same. But they missed the point because they think about ding-a-ling. That mean you're a punk. Man, I'm talking about, man, the first time I read that verse, I ain't think about man that's gay. That didn't even come across my mind. Yeah, they called Jonathan and David gay because it said that the love for Jonathan surpassed the love of woman. Let me tell you something, man. And I know you doggone tender around the anus niggas. You know what I'm talking about? You super in love with your mama niggas not gonna like this. Man, look here, man. The love that your brother gonna have for you is always gonna surpass the love of a woman because of one thing. And it doesn't mean that the woman is lesser. Your old lady not gonna die for you 99.9% of the time. We've had this conversation before. And if you think your old lady should die for you, it's something wrong with you. Because she is not hardwired to put her life on the line for a man. Now, there are some women who would die for their man, but they are in the minority. That woman will die for her children, as she should. She carried them for 9 months. They shared the same breath, the same heartbeat. They nursed on her body. The bond that she's going to have with your children will never be the same as the bond that she has with you. Your mama will die for you because she your mama. Your wife does not view you like your mama view you. You need to stop looking for her to do that because she's not. So she's not going to die for you. Man, Jonathan put his life on the line for David on multiple occasions. David risked Jonathan's life. And truth be told, Jonathan risked his life for David way more than David did for Jonathan. You know what I'm talking about? This is why Jonathan can say, well, my love for you passed the love of women, man. Well, that's my brother. I love this man. But you niggas so doggone, I'm talking about old dick in the booty, gay behind niggas, you don't know what it's like to look at your brother and love your brother. Because you ain't never had no brother before, obviously. You know what I'm talking about? And I ain't talking about just your blood brothers either. Because Jonathan and David were not blood related. I remember that dude he used to come around here and told me, yeah, man, I was told if you tell your homeboy you love him, that was gay. I said, I don't know what type of niggas you was raised around, because me and my friends been telling each other we loved each other since we were 14. I ain't ashamed to tell my brother I love him. What you mean? That's why some of these little boys messed up. Now, I will say this here. Some men come from a generation of men who did not verbally tell their children that they loved them. That was more so something they showed with their actions. And you have some men that are like that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, my grandma told me, if it ain't nothing else I can remember, it's 2 things I remember her saying. Don't call that baby bad. Say he misbehaving. Because he will internalize those thoughts and believe he's bad if you tell him he's bad. I remember that. Now, she died when I was 6. I remember her. She wasn't telling it to me. I remember her saying that out loud. Like, don't call that baby bad. You know what I'm talking about? And her saying that love is an action word. See, some people are so busy about somebody saying love and this, that, there, and the third that they can't see love when it's being shown. That's why they rejected God. That's why they rejected Yahuwah when he came here in the flesh. He showed love. What's wrong? Some people don't know love when they see it. That's why I told you be careful about that love language stuff. Because you be looking for your love language and somebody could be showing you the love of God and you're rejected because it don't look like how you want love to look. God ain't coming to show you love how you want it. He coming to show you godly love. And if you can't perceive what that look like, you're rejected. Because love language stuff, that's self-serving. That's to serve your ego, your pride, your vanity. You know what I'm talking about? That doesn't mean that if you like certain things that you can't express that to an individual that this is what I like. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that that person loves you because they do it. Because Satan can do the things that you love too, and he don't give a damn about you. That's why I say you got to be careful. It's selfish. It's self-serving. We live in a generational time where the ego and pride and self-serving is the on the menu of the day. You know what I'm talking about? It's the catch of the day, as they say if you go to a seafood restaurant. You know what I'm talking about? And they selling it at market rates. So you have to be careful about that. I ain't say you ain't got to toss it out the window. I say you got to be careful about things and see, is this playing into my vanity and my ego and my pride? Because these people are coming up with stuff. This stuff don't come from God. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that it's not a tenet that will espouse godly conduct. That's what I mean by that. Not that you can't, if it don't come from God, you can't read it. If you don't come from God, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it doesn't espouse and produce godly characteristics. You know what I'm talking about? And selfishness is not a godly characteristic. Pride is not a godly characteristic. That's what I mean by that. Not, that's not the Bible. You can't read that. That's not of God, so you can't do that. That's an idiot. You understand? Because there's a lot of things you do that don't come from God. You play basketball, that don't come from God. You know what I'm talking about? You go to the gym, that don't come from God. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you like to play board games, that don't come from God. You know what I'm saying? So let's be serious. Let's be adults. Let's not be, a facade of a religious fanatic on the internet playing games, faking and funking. You know what I'm talking about? When we talk about coming from God, that means it produces who Yahuwah is. You know what I'm saying? And some things that these people espouse is becoming mainstream ways of thought, things of that sort. It don't come from him because it produces vanity and self-centeredness. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he say, do not love the things of the world, because the love of the world is the lust of the flesh, the lust of eyes, and the pride of life. And these things are of the world and not of the Father. So you have to have perspective. You have to be on point. You have to be paying attention. What is this producing? What is the aim of this information? I'm not talking about information that you read in scholastic books. I'm not talking about information that you could derive from a documentary. I'm talking about this self-help stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about specifically and directly, laser focused. What is this supposed to be producing? Are you using wisdom and understanding when you're interacting with this? Or are you going after the flavor of the day? Because self-help books have been $1 billion industry for a long time because so many people are disenfranchised and dissatisfied with their life, and they're looking for someone to tell them how they can make their life better. And these people are grifters and scammers and con men and women, and they're seizing on the opportunity to exploit you financially for your dissatisfaction and low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. There's no way around it. You have to be up on game. You know what I mean? Some people don't want to hear that. What can I say? Like you who will be esteemed. Where you at, good sir?
Luke 7 and 44. I should go with that.
No, we ain't finished yet. Come on.
Saying, he said to the woman and said unto Simon, see you this woman? I entered into your house. You gave me no water for my feet, but she had washed my feet with tears and wiped with the hairs of her head. You gave me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, have not ceased to kiss my feet. My head with oil you did not anoint.
You didn't anoint me.
But this woman have anointed my feet with women. Wherefore I say unto you, her sins, which are many, are forgiven.
Why?
For she loved much.
She loved what?
She loved much.
She loved what?
Much.
He that love
But to whom little is forgiven, the same love little. He said unto her, your sins are forgiven.
He said that he that do what?
But to whom little is forgiven,
he loved
little.
Let me tell you something, man. That's why I referenced that. Man, somebody who facing a lot of charges, man, like life sentences, this, that, there, and the third. Well, if that boy beat that case, some of them boys turn their life around. You know what I'm talking about? But you keep coming in there for a little petty dope. You know what I'm saying? Get caught with a pistol here and there. Guess what you do? I do it again. Or this Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. This is most people right here. Y'all know what it say. Y'all hear it enough.
Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Paul, tell them what a sentence is. It's a sentence you make with the letter people. You come and visit the family because words are made with letter people.
This is pithgam, an edict, a decree, a sentence, or a judicial sentence.
A judicial sentence. You ain't seen the judge. Because the sentence against a
evil work
isn't
executed speedily.
It is privily in the sons of Adam.
Fully setting them to do evil.
Fully setting them to do evil. How many of y'all was out here committing crimes, but you never got caught? Didn't it embolden you to do more crimes? Because you got away with it. You figured, shoot, I stole out the store. I stole this candy bar. I got away with it. Now you want to go to the mall and steal Tommy shirts. When we was teenagers, man, these two sisters, man, in our apartment, boy, they were going up there to dealers every day, stinging them people for polos and nauticas and heel figures, selling them, more so nauticas and heel figures. Because polo was a thing, but in the early 90s, it wasn't the only thing. You know what I'm talking about? So they were still reeling heel figures and nauticas down here, man. Along with New River, which y'all don't know nothing about that, and Duckhead. Y'all may know about that. You know what I'm saying? I think they still sell Duckhead. They don't sell New River no more. You know what I'm saying? I think that was what was the name of that store? You know what I'm saying? The guy say, I feel seen. What was the name of that store? J. Riggins? Was it J. Riggins? I can't remember. You know what I'm saying? But either way it go. They were stealing all them shirts, man, and selling them. And you know why they were stealing them? Because they kept getting away with it. You know why dudes keep selling drugs? Because when you made your first serve, you didn't get caught. So you're like, I'm going to serve again. And again. And again. And now you're knee deep in the game. Come on, you can pick up the Job. 28 and 14. Make it 13. Don Joanne, come here.
No. I love you, Mommy.
You funky head, little girl.
Hey, help me.
Ain't nobody helping you. Come here, Joanne.
They say, man know not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The depth saith, it is not in me, and the sea saith, not with me.
Tell them what depth means. Come here, Joanne.
That's to home.
That's the grave. That's the same word in Genesis, ain't it? Read the definition of full.
We got deeps, depths, deep places, abyss, the deep, the sea,
the grave,
the primeval sea, the deep, the abyss, the grave.
Go ahead. Mainly, though, it's talking about the deep abyss of the sea.
It cannot be gotten for gold, neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof.
Ain't that what we read earlier with Peter? Gold can't get it for you. Come on.
It cannot be valued with gold of Ophir, with the precious onyx or the sapphire. The gold and crystal cannot equal it. In the exchange of it, jewels of fine gold,
no mention,
shall be made of coral or of pearls.
For the price of wisdom,
above rubies.
You can't. It's way above that, baby.
The topaz of Ethiopia shall not equal it. Neither shall it be valued with pure gold.
Whence come wisdom?
And where is the place of understanding?
Seeing it is hid
from the eyes of all living,
and kept close
from the fowls of the air.
Destruction and death say,
we have heard the fame thereof with our ears.
Destruction and death say,
we have heard the fame thereof with our ears.
Now, how could destruction and death say they heard the fame, but the land of the living hadn't heard it? Because I'm going to tell you something. Go ahead, man. 1 Peter 4 and 6. The spirits in prison heard it before you did.
He said, for this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead.
The gospel is preached unto them that are
dead.
Why?
That they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to Elohim in the spirit.
They may be judged according to men in the who?
In the flesh.
But what?
Live according to Elohim in the spirit.
See, to have wisdom and understanding, you can live according to Elohim in the spirit. You understand? And I think it's also in Shalom, Brother Shaul. I think it's in 1 Peter chapter 3. You know what I'm talking about? Tell me what verse 14 says.
Say, but and if you suffer for righteousness' sake, happy and be not afraid of the terror, neither be troubled.
That ain't it. Don't even sound like what I want. Yeah, it is.
Farther down.
Yeah, it is. Keep on going. Just get straight to the point. Just read where you at. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. Go ahead. This is 1 Peter 3 and 14.
He said, be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled, but sanctify the Lord Elohim in your hearts, and ready always an answer to every man that asks you a reason for the hope that is in you.
See, some people are like, you supposed to tell me the hope that's in you. Man, my life ain't on the line. I got to answer to you, nigga.
With meekness and fear, having a good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse you.
Your good conduct.
In Hamashiach.
Come on with it.
For better if the will of Elohim be so that you suffer for well-doing.
Suffer for who?
For well-doing.
Then?
For evil-doing.
Come on.
For Mashiach also have one suffered for sins.
Suffer for sins.
The just for the unjust.
The just for the who?
Unjust.
See, remember, if y'all don't remember, we talked about that with Adam and Eve. Adam literally suffered as the just for the unjust because he wasn't wrong. Eve was wrong. The book says Adam was not in the transgression, but Eve. He became the just for the unjust, showing you a pattern of what would come later with a Mashiach. That's all. It's just a pattern. Some of y'all gonna get your pennies in the book. Adam was wrong. Come on, man. Obviously, he got kicked out. But when you sit back and you look at, because the preacher is supposed to collect sentences and set in order the proverbs or the dark sayings so that you can understand them, because the preacher is supposed to take good heed and find out and seek out acceptable words, even words of truth, the words of faith that you're supposed to buy. And not only by that, but instruction, wisdom, and understanding with it. And understanding is a wellspring of life. And I think we read in Proverbs, what that was, that Proverbs we read Wednesday, man. Hold on. I can't even remember. I think it was in 20. Was it in 20? You know my mind bad. I can't remember. One of them we read that how understanding give life and give favor. That's what it said. You know what I'm talking about? Give favor. That's how you get it. Come on, man. Dudes think they get understanding from the law and they still don't know God.
For Hamashiach also once suffered for sins, that the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to Elohim.
That he must suffer for sins, the just for the who?
Unjust.
The just for the who?
Unjust.
That's what Adam did.
So being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Ruach.
See, now this is the difference. Adam was put to death by the flesh, but he wasn't made alive by the Ruach because he kept the tree of life from him. Go ahead.
So by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison.
Preached to the who?
Spirits in prison.
What he did with them.
Which sometime were disobedient, when once the long suffering of Elohim waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls were saved by water.
Listen, right? You know, Peter is the only one that talks about this man preaching to the spirits in prison. Paul didn't write about that. John didn't write about that. James didn't write about that. The Epistle of Hebrews don't talk about that. Jude didn't write about that. So you have to ask yourself this question. If Peter has made reference in this letter twice to him preaching to the spirits in prison, it's imperative that you know, where is he getting that? Why is he saying that? Because clearly the Lord taught him that. So that means when he taught them, when the whole book was about him and gave them an understanding of the word, that means that's something he taught them. But you know what a lot of people going to say? You can't read that's where he taught him, and I see you going to read your way to hell. Because clearly this man taught him that. You just don't know why he said it. So to rationalize in your mind why you don't know why he said it, you have to create something to make you feel better about the fact that you don't know what he's talking about. But when you come back to Job 28 and 22, look at what he said.
Say destruction and death say, we have heard the fame thereof with our ears.
Tell them what destruction and death mean.
Destruction is Abaddon. The place of destruction, ruin, Abaddon.
The place of destruction is the grave.
And death is Maveth.
Mave, dead. He say the grave has heard of, because right before that it says, whence come wisdom and where is the place of understanding? Seeing it is hid from the eyes of all the living. So he say all the living didn't know it. He say, but the grave and death knew about it. My God, today. 28 and 23.
Say Elohim understand the way thereof, and he know the place thereof. For he looked to the ends of the earth, see under the whole Shamahim.
To make weight
for the winds, and he weighed the waters by measure. When he made a decree for the rain, and a way for the lightning and of the thunder.
Then did he
see it, and
declared it.
He prepared it,
searched it
out. And
on demand, he said,
behold, the fear of the Lord,
that is
wisdom,
and to depart from
evil is understanding.
So the skill that Yahushua had is because of the reverence he had for his father. And because he departed from sin, he got the insight. And how did he get the insight? Because he said, if you wander out the way of understanding, you'll dwell amongst the congregation of the dead. So because he departed from evil, he was a perfect sacrifice, and he raised him from the dead. And then this book was unsealed, and he gave that information to the apostles. And that information gives everlasting life, because great the Lord gave the word, or the Lord gave the promise. Great is the army that preached the gospel. How beautiful are the feet of them upon the mountains who publish tidings, who bring good tidings, that publish shalom, that say that announce salvation, that say unto Zion, your Elohim has dominion. You know what I'm saying? Your Elohim is king. You understand? What did he say? Show forth my salvation from day to day. Bring forth my good tidings from day to day. See, the only thing anybody want to talk about Yahuwah is his wrath, when these the same niggas finna catch that wrath. How you want to talk about a wrath that you finna participate in? When this man told you the things that accompany salvation, this is what we speak of. But they think salvation is getting delivered out of captivity. These dudes think the law gonna save them. What are people going to hell, man? The law can't get you out of death. Can't do it. Yahuwah does that. Yahuwah does that. But you know how many brews don't want to hear that? You know how many brews will hear that, what we just said, and say he telling people not to keep the law? Where at any time did we say not to keep the law? Did I say that? Was that even inferred? You know what I'm talking about? Was it insinuated? That's because these niggas trust the law more than they trust God. You know what I'm talking about? Because they want that man to owe them. That's right, East man, through his mercy alone. You know how many brews I done talked to who argued me down talking about his mercy in the law, and they were talking about some animal sacrifices? I say, man, I wish I had a turtle dove so I could pick it up and punch you with it. Find me a bullock, and I hope that bullock fart in your face. For real, bro, you don't know how agitating that is, because in their attempt to justify themselves, they take away the esteem that belongs to Abba by Hashem Yahushua HaMashiach, who are Baruch forever. Let that be known. You know what I'm talking about? And as he just said, the mercy is with Yahuwah and Yahuwah alone. But they don't want the mercy of God, because that means they would have to humble themselves before his throne, and much not even lift up their eyes to Shamahim and say, Elohim, be merciful to me because I am a sinner. And they don't want to do that. They want to be justified in their own mind, in their own heart, in their own ways. They don't want to humble themselves before God and ask for his mercy for being a sinner, because he that loved little, little is forgiven. You know what I'm talking about? Most people, when they know, man, they've been out here sideways, man, out of pocket, man, up, down, all around, man, and this man manifests itself, man, and they see that mercy, they say, yeah, but I appreciate that. I'm holding fast to that, man. I'm holding fast to that, man. It means something to you. You value it. And that's why he say he that much is forgiven, love much. Give me Proverbs 10 and 12. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 12 now.
Say hatred stirs strife, but love cover all sins.
Love do what?
Cover all sins.
Love do what?
Cover all sins.
He didn't say the law cover all sins. He didn't say that, did he? He said hatred stir up strife, but love do what?
Cover all sins.
Love do what?
Cover all sins.
Give me love cover sins, man. Because I know all ain't there. Or it's going to be one word. Now we know love is what? Ahab. And what does Ahab mean?
That's love, human love. For human object, of man toward man, of man toward himself, between man and woman.
And what did the Apostle John tell you that Elohim is what? In 1 John chapter 4, he told you Elohim is what? Get it for him. 1 John chapter 4, verse 14. I'll let the book tell it to you.
Saying, we have seen and do testify that Abba sent the Son, the Savior of the world. Whosoever that shall confess that Yahushua is the Son of Elohim, Elohim dwell in him.
You can only confess that Yahushua is the Son of Elohim if you believe on him, as the scripture has said. If you haven't heard of him from Genesis to Malachi, then you truthfully can't make that confession. I say that because plenty of people don't say, some people tell people they won't baptize them. So I'm saying this for anybody on here on this stream right now to say, oh, I want to be baptized. If you came to me and say, will you baptize me? I'm only going to ask you one question. Do you believe that Yahushua is the Son of Elohim? That's the only thing that I'm going to ask you. If you tell me, yeah, I believe he's the Son of God, what I'm going to tell you? You lying? You know what I'm saying? And I say that because when the Ethiopian eunuch say, what hindered me from being baptized? There goes some water. He said nothing. He said, you believe that Yahushua is the Son of God? He said, I do. He said, well, come on then. No man, if a man denies you immersion, he's not of God. Anything that is a service of God, if a man seeks to deny that from you, then he's not of God, because no servant of God would deny that from you. Because I can't tell you if you believe or not. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is to give you the information that you weigh and consider what it is that you're participating in. But ultimately, that's a confession and profession of faith of your own. And you have to deal with the weight of that responsibility of the profession that you're making. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead. First John 4 and 15.
And whosoever shall confess that Yahushua is the Son of Elohim and dwell in him, and he in Elohim.
Come on.
And we have known and believed the love that Elohim have to us. Elohim is love.
Elohim is what?
Is love.
He's what?
Is love.
What else?
And he that dwell in love, dwell in Elohim.
Remember, Elohim said when he declared his name, I'm Yahuwah. Yahuwah Elohim, merciful, gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth, saving mercy for thousands, forgiving sin, iniquity, and transgression. That's love, man. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at love cover all sins, Yahuwah declaring his name is literally showing you how love covers all sins. You don't even realize that when Adam went and ate with his wife and died with his wife and gave her the fig leaves, he was trying to show that love covers all sins. He was trying, but it wasn't his job to do that. But he was showing you the pattern of what was coming later. The Son of God loving his wife by dying for his wife and trying to cover her sins. But it's not man's job to cover sins. It's God's job to cover sins. That's it. But there's the pattern of the love that was to come later, because love covers all sins. The law don't cover all sins because it can't. The law manifests sin, because when you break it, it manifests that you are a sinner. And when you sin, you're supposed to what? Die. You're not supposed to offer no animal sacrifice. You're supposed to die. That man say, I didn't say nothing to your forefathers coming out of Egypt, talking about, praise Yahuwah. He didn't say, I didn't tell your forefathers. He said, man, take them sacrifices and eat them. He said, I never spoke to your forefathers about no animal sacrifices. He said, obey my voice. That man never wanted your damn bullocks. That man told you in Psalms 50, he said, if I was hungry, I wouldn't tell you. He said, I never require no animal at your hand. You think this man wants your lambs and your bullocks and your doggone turtle dove. That man don't want that. He said, oh, that's stuff mine. You ain't doing nothing to give me what's mine. Come on, dude. Come on with it, sir.
It said, and love, Elohim is love, and he that dwell in Elohim, or that dwell in love, dwell in Elohim, and Elohim in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment.
He said, when you do this, your love is made perfect. When you do this, that mercy and grace, that goodness and truth, your slowness to wrath, your forgiveness is made perfect. Your care and compassion is made perfect. Remember, he said, I will draw you with loving kindness. He didn't say I will draw you with no law. You read me one person Yahuwah ever drew with the law. I'll wait. Show me one. Just show me one. I just want one. Who did he draw to him by saying, I got these laws, statutes, and commandments over here? Did he draw Abraham with it? What about Isaac? Did he do that with Jacob? What law did he draw Moses with? He didn't draw the children of Israel with no law coming out of Egypt. They ain't get no law. They weren't even saved by no law. They were saved by faith. If they didn't put that blood on that doorpost, they were going to die. They were saved by grace and faith. It was a free gift. It was not of their own. It wasn't nothing the Israelites did to get delivered out of Egypt. It wasn't a commandment they kept. So don't you tell that bold-faced lie. Joshua and Caleb didn't enter into the land because of no law. He said because they believed in what the man promised. They came back and gave a good report of the land what the man promised. Then people gave an evil report, discouraging everybody. To the point that they appointed a captain to go back to where they came from. Talking about we had cucumbers, leeks, and melons. To go back and be a slave. That's the same way some of these niggas want you to go back to sin. You better watch them. Better pay attention to them. Better pay attention to them. What law did he draw David with? Shoot, what law did he draw Saul with? Read Jeremiah 31 so they don't think I'm making that up. 31:1.
Say at the same time, saith Yahuwah, will I be the Elohim of all the families of Yasharal, they shall be my people. Thus saith Yahuwah, the people left of the sword found grace in the wilderness.
The people left of the who?
Of the sword.
That's the people 19 and under. They found mercy in the wilderness. Don't you realize, man, the people were sinning against that man and they still got mercy in the wilderness? They wasn't because of no law. And the people didn't die in the wilderness because they were breaking the law. They died in the wilderness because of unbelief. Give me Psalms 95:1. We come right back. We supposed to read Psalms 95 2 weeks ago. It's here now. He say, man, you didn't call for me. He say, but I'm here now.
Oh, come, let us sing unto Yahuwah. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation.
That's right.
Let us come before his presence for thanksgiving and make a joyful noise unto him with songs.
That's what a lot of these niggas' problem is. They don't come to this man with thanksgiving and they don't want to make a joyful noise. Some of these niggas too doggone righteous to sing to God. Ain't that some bull crap? These niggas super gangsters, man. That man, niggas so hard, man. That's that Christian stuff. Shut up. What's wrong with you? Oh, want to be tough niggas, man? Nigga, you ain't in jail no more, Damon. You free. Come on, man.
Say for Yahuwah, a great Elohim, king above all gods.
Absolutely.
In his hands, the deep places of the earth, the strength of the hills, his also.
That's right.
The sea is his, and he made it.
That's
his
right.
hands formed the dry.
So did.
Oh, come, let us worship and bow down.
That's what I worship and bow down.
Let us kneel before Yahuwah, our maker.
That's right.
For he is our Elohim, and we the people of his pasture.
People of his pasture.
Sheep of his hand.
Sheep
Today,
of his hand.
if you will hear his voice,
hearken not.
harden not your heart as in the provocation.
He said, harden not your hearts in the day of temptation.
As in the temptation in the wilderness. When your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work. 40 years. Long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. To whom I swear in my wrath that they should not enter into my rest. Notice that he says that them people weren't tempted by no law, statutes, and commandments. Them people were tempted because they trust that their God was able to do what he said that he would do. The same way that Mashiach was tempted. He wasn't never tempted with no law, statutes, and commandments. Most people are tempted by the things that the law say because you don't have any control over your flesh, because you haven't laid up this man's instructions in your heart, like we read in Proverbs chapter 4. You haven't heard the instruction of a father. You haven't attended to no understanding. You haven't laid his words up in your heart. You haven't made wisdom the principal thing and understanding after that so it can preserve you, so you can stay alive.
You didn't listen. You didn't obey. You didn't regard. You didn't hold fast to. I promise you, man, if your daddy was a man of discipline and instruction and he gave you certain instructions and teachings, you still hold to them teachings to this day. It's no different. If your daddy taught you something at 8 and you 40, you still been holding to them same teachings. You laid them up in your heart for 32 years. You never let them go. You followed them to the T, just like he taught you. That's all Yahuwah telling you. That's why he gave you that and that type of similitude. But you don't see it that way because he's not physically in your face doing it. But when his word come forth, as if he is manifested in the flesh, giving you an instruction the same way your daddy did. Now, it's different to you if you ain't never had no daddy. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, facetious, rude, or anything of the sort. You know what I'm talking about? But at the same token, he'll tell you don't forsake the law of your mother because your mama might have gave you some game and you could still be living by the things your mama taught you. It's the same thing. Now, some of you may not be living by nothing your parents taught you for one or two reasons. Either your parents didn't teach you nothing or you just rebellious and you disregarded what they told you. And I think most people fall into the latter and not the former. Now, some people had parents that didn't teach them anything. And that's unfortunate because you're already at a deficit. You know what I'm saying? But most people, your people taught you right. You just didn't listen. You were hard-headed. You want to do what you wanted to do. I was telling somebody the other day, man, like a lot of stuff I didn't go through in life, not because I'm so wise and so great. It's because I observed other people and learned from their mistakes. I said, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through what he went through. I don't want to go through what she went through. I don't want to go that route. They've already done that for me. And some people will tell you that that's just an element of being a wise person is learning from. You know, one thing in life you don't have to do. You don't have to learn it yourself. In everything in life, you don't have to learn it yourself. You don't have to go through it the hard way. You don't have to experience it. You can actually learn from someone else to know what to do and what not to do, to save yourself from some time. Because a lot of niggas just want to waste time making bad decisions. He said, I saw my whole family on drugs, never smoked or drank. Shoot, I ain't mad at you. Like I say, I just give you one because it just popped in my mind. I learned at an early age never to move in a woman's house because of what I observed. Because I lived in an apartment complex. It's different if you live in a neighborhood, you know what I'm talking about, and people live in houses because you may see some things you may not. But when you live in an apartment complex, man, you see a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of people living around each other. It's kind of hard to miss certain things. And I learned at an early age, man, moving in a woman's house is never advantageous for you as a man because she will never respect you because in her mind, that's my house. It don't matter if you paid the rent there for 3-4 years straight. It don't matter. I'm not saying she's right. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm saying you what I observed and what I told myself, oh, I'm not doing that. Because I didn't see that benefit them at all as a man. Ain't nobody finna be putting me out no house, man, with no garbage bag full of stuff, selling out, talking to me any kind of way. I'm not going through all that. I refuse. I'm not going to put myself in that situation because I saw 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different dudes and how that didn't work out for them. So why would I observe that and then go say, well, that ain't going to be me. That's just them. Nah, bro. Nah. You stupid. You know what I'm saying? I can't see a scenario play out 10 times and think I'm going to be the exception to that. That's why I tell you, man, when that man say, hey, man, evil communications corrupt good manners, and you can read that Solomon is more wise than all of us put together times 1,000. And the book said, according to the book of Nehemiah, that outlandish women caused him to sin. I don't know how you think you're going to be wiser than Solomon. Because if sinners got Solomon to fall, they sure as doo-doo stank gonna make you fall. But guess what? Most people say, oh, that ain't gonna happen to me. See, because you know what I mean? I'm gonna tell you something, man. I told you this before. A sinner gonna convert you before you convert a sinner. I'm telling you. They're gonna convert you. They're gonna convert you before you convert them. And they're not even going out their way to convert you. But you're going to be seeing that carnal and fleshly behavior that they participating in, and you're going to be drawn in and into it because at the end of the day, you still flesh and blood. You still got passions and desires, and the more you're around it, the weaker you get, and the more opportunity that you'll have to yield to it. It's not saying that these people are going out their way to convince you to do something. It's just that you ain't that strong, cuz. You know what I'm talking about? Remember we were talking about that? Man, dudes, you get a little fame, get a little money, and you got all them women throwing themselves at you. You not that strong, bro. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But and ladies, I know you don't want to believe it, man. Can't no man take no 200-300 women throwing themselves at them on a regular basis, and he not gonna fold. He's not that strong, bro. You not that strong, bro. You know what I'm saying? You may have not came out the house with the thought that that's what you was finna do. That's why when Zadok was telling me about what Ice Cube said he did, I said Ice Cube a real man. I didn't say real. I said that's a real man. That's a man who knew himself. He said, "Well, I know I can't go to them parties." He said, "Matter of fact, I'm gonna fly my wife in to whatever city we performing at, and she gonna be at the hotel when the show over, because I'm going to my old lady, because I know if I got sexual urges, I might fulfill them. So if I know my wife there, I fulfill them with her." That's a wise man, because he know I can't be in them spaces, man. I know what's gonna happen. You not that strong, bro. You not. You know what I'm talking about? I know you want to think you is. Because let's just be real. That's right, East. The serpent is more subtle than any. I'm trying to tell you. Way more subtle. His craftiness is not how you think. He's not overt. He's covert. You know what I'm talking about? But that's another conversation for another day. Listen, I'm tell you, man. The average dude out here ain't got women throwing themselves at them. Let's just go ahead and be honest with you. Most of us is not going outside and women are fawning all over you like, ooh, screaming and hollering and running up on you, flirting and touching on you. That's not your life. That's not your life. You know what I'm talking about? So imagine that you went from never experiencing that till now all of a sudden women falling out and following you everywhere you go, and you think you're not going to seize on that? Well, you better get your black behind up out of there. You better pull a Joseph and put your shoes on and run. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're not that strong. I don't care what nobody tell you. You ain't that strong, man. Yeah, it's easy to turn down one piece of vagina. It ain't easy to turn down 100. You know what I'm talking about? It ain't easy. It's not as easy as you think it is. You know why? Because you ain't never had 100 women offer themselves to you to find out if you could. Don't do it. And that's with any sin period. I'm just using that one because we discussed that. Because he said in the way of temptation, he made a way out. But you got to stop thinking you strong enough to endure any temptation. You better get your black behind up out of there. Remember, that man, when he told you to pray, he said, pray that you enter not into temptation. Then he told you better watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. He said, for the ruach is willing, civic, but the flesh is what? That means you ain't that strong, cuz. You not that strong, cuz. If the Lord told you your flesh is weak, you not that strong. When I say not that strong, you not as strong as you think you are. And if sinners got Solomon to fold, and he was the wisest man to ever live, and he had more wisdom in his pinky finger than all of us have combined, and them women caused him to sin, I don't know how you think you're going to be the sinner. I don't know how you think you're going to do it. You not going to do it. Your flesh going to win every time. Because it feels good to me. It ain't going to hurt this one time. How many of y'all said you wasn't going to drink when you went somewhere and somebody offered you a little sip? I ain't going to hurt the sip a little bit. Next thing you know, you end up pissy drunk. You don't even know how you got like that. But my point is, but you didn't intend to do that when you went. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't your intent. That's what I mean about the weakness. It's a lot of things that you may have went and done in your life, but that was not your intent when you went. Now, some things you went and did, and it was your intent to go do that sin. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the things that many of us have done in our lifetime that would be contrary to the will of God, whether you knew the word of God or not, that wasn't your intent to do that when you went. You didn't plan that when you went. You know what I'm saying? You found yourself in a position that you thought you were strong enough to resist, and you really weren't. The same way that people go in the gym and ego lift. Well, you know you can't bench press that 225 right now, cuz. But you're convincing yourself that you can. Now the bar is on your throat. And then you put clips on the bar, so you can't even turn the bar to let the plates go off the bar so you can get it off your throat. Now you done died. That's a stumbling block for sure. Lack of wisdom. I'm trying to tell you. And that's a part of wisdom, man. It's okay, man. It doesn't make you a terrible person because you say, you know what, I'm weak in that area. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna put myself in that position. You know what I'm saying? See, Mama Steph was just talking about it the other day. If you know you in a position that somebody around there, you gonna cuss that nigga out. Common sense say, let me get from around there before I cuss this nigga out. It's better for me to leave than to sin before God and to stay there and sin. See how easy that is? But some people, why you running? You should have stayed there. I want to live, nigga. What you talking about? I don't want to lose my soul, you know what I'm saying, because of this. But this is how you have to approach it. You can resist the devil, or you can be like Joseph, put your sneakers on and get up out of there. Joseph didn't sit there after he told this woman, man, I'm not having sex with you, and she steady throwing them yams at him. You know what would have happened if Joseph would have stayed in there while she was steady throwing them yams at him? He probably would have hit her. He said, man, I can't sin before my God and do this, man. Leave me alone, lady. She kept pressing him. He got out of there. Sometimes you got to get out of there. Sometimes you can be strong enough to resist. Most of the time, you don't have to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to get up out of there. There's some things that it's not going to move you. Some of y'all, if somebody tempt you with crack, I doubt you're going to smoke crack. You know what I'm saying? If a homosexual come tempt you, I doubt you're going to have. See, Satan is not going, the adversary is not going to come at you with the things that you like. I mean, that you don't like. He's going to come at you with what you like. See, like when he came at the Lord according to his faith. It's the same thing that happened in the wilderness. You have to stop looking at temptation sometimes as the natural lust of your flesh, because sometimes Satan coming to try your heart, or tempt your heart as it pertains to what God has promised. When you continue down the pathway to know that God is going to do exactly what he said he's going to do. And that's what most people fold at, because you thinking he's going to tempt you with vagina and penis. Tempting you with vagina and penis is a light thing. If you already have a problem with vagina and penis, you already distracted. You ain't worth tempting. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you're not worth tempted. You already caught up with pleasure. He already got you. You're not worth tempting. But when you are genuinely walking down that straight way, that narrow gate, you know what I'm talking about? Then he gonna try to come tempt you to get you out of the way. This is why he tell you to guard your heart, for the issues of life do that. And he say, and don't go to the left hand or to the right, but stay straight ahead, because this man is looking to get you out of the way. If you already out the way, there's no work that he has to do. But when you in the way, you have to be aware and self-evaluate on a regular basis to see where your faith need to be strengthened at, so he don't get you off track. It's the same way if it's natural things you want to do. It's always a nigga coming around trying to distract you with a good time so you don't focus on what it is that you need to focus on. You might be in school. You might be practicing for, it could be anything. It's always somebody who's a time vampire who is trying to distract you to get you out of the way. You have to recognize that. You know what I'm talking about? And you have to, hey, nah, cuz I ain't on that. She said, you just got to tell Diddy, no. Sometimes you do, though. Sometimes you have to tell people, no, I can't do that. Let me tell you something real, man. I learned it a long time ago. People who love you, if they know that you're working towards something and you tell them, no, I can't do that, they'll respect it and say, my bad, you're right, man. Handle your business. You know what I'm saying? People who don't care nothing about you, they'll be offended at the fact that you won't sacrifice the path that you're walking on to appease them. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay attention to that. People who genuinely care about you will want you to attain your objectives. They don't want to be a distraction to what it is that you're working towards. They may not realize they're doing it, but when you say something, hey man, you know, oh, my bad, bro. My bad, sis. My bad. I ain't mean to do that. Handle your business. You know what I'm saying? Handle your business. Because they want to see you succeed. They want to see you flourish. They want you to achieve the things that you have conjured in your mind that this is what you want to do. But I'm be honest with you, most people don't want you to do it because they don't want to do that for themselves. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, man, better stay away from them wicked niggas. Let's finish this here so we get out of here. We 3 hours in. It's time to stop. Verse 9, Ecclesiastes 12. Moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. So again, we talked about that earlier. The coalesce or the collectors of sentences, he must needs be wise. He must have kokam. He must have the skill. And then he will lamad the da'ath. Lamad is to teach. Da'ath, dalit, ayin, and tau. That's knowledge, that's perception, that's skill, that's discernment, that's understanding, that is wisdom. But he's able to do this because he gave good heed. Good heed is azan, aleph, zayin, and nun. That is the way to test, to prove, to consider, to weigh, to ponder. That goes back to what Paul said about, get that for me. Give me 2 Timothy chapter 2, man, verse 5. A lot of these dudes haven't weighed. When you talk about tested, to test something, that means you put it to use. A lot of dudes ain't put the word to use to be able to say they gave good heed. And it shows. Come on with it. 2 Timothy 2 and 5.
And if a man also strive for masteries, is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully?
Mm-hmm.
The husbandman that labor must be first partaker of the fruit.
The husbandmen that labor must first be partakers of the what?
Of the fruit.
He got to test it then, didn't he? Go ahead.
Consider what I say, and the Lord will give you understanding in all
Most
things.
of these dudes ain't been partakers of the fruit. What's being partaker of the fruit? That means he's supposed to be partakers of the peace, the joy, the long suffering, the gentleness, the goodness, the meekness, the self-control. How you gonna tell me about how to be slow to wrath and you ain't tested that out first? You ain't gave good heed. So if you ain't gave good heed, how you gonna seek out many proverbs? Now, when he said they sought out, when he gave good heed, he sought out. And again, that is kakar, kat, kuf, raj. That is to search out, to examine, to investigate. You know what the Lord said. Search the scriptures. For in them you think you have eternal life. It says the same things in Numbers 21. Of course, you know Proverbs is mashal. But to set in order is takan. Tau, kuf, and noon. That's to make straight, to become straight, to arrange in order, to set in order. He's going to set in order the mashal or the proverbs, the dark sayings, the riddles, the parables, the similitudes. So a preacher is a collector of sentences who collects these proverbs and give them Hosea 12 and 10 on the house. And then he's going to set in order these similitudes and teach it to the people.
I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
Give them similitudes in ministry for those who ain't heard us talk about this before. Come on, Joanne. Come on.
Similitudes is the ma, to be like, to resemble.
So that means the prophets were speaking something that was to resemble something. Peter told you that the prophets had no idea what it was that they were prophesying about.
And the ministry is Yah.
So this is the ministry of the power or the ministry of the right hand. You know what I'm talking about? So they set in order these similitudes. So when Yahushua rose from the dead and said, these are the things that are written in the law of Moses and the Psalms and in the prophets concerning me, and then he opened their understanding that they might understand the scriptures, he set in order the proverbs. He set in order the similitudes. He taught them knowledge. Why? Because he was wise. Why? Because he gave good heed. Why? Because he sought out to do this. Then it say the preacher sought out to find, this is verse 10, sought out to find acceptable words. What are these acceptable words? It is kafats, dabar. Kafats is to take pleasure in, to delight. So he sought to find out a delightful word. Good news, wouldn't it? Then he says that which was written upright. That is kathab, yashar, or yosher, which is yad, shan, and rash, straightness, uprightness, what is right. Even a dabar of a moth. And again, a moth is that firmness, the same thing we read about that you're supposed to buy. So you can see that the preacher is steady seeking out pleasurable words. Words that are right, words of faith. You know what I'm talking about? This is what the preacher is supposed to do. So if they're not doing that, then they're not a preacher. They just a nigga running their mouth. You know what I'm saying? And you had to know the difference. Remember, give him Jeremiah 3:15, and then tell him what pastor is, just in case they don't know. Now, of course, verse 11 in Ecclesiastes 12 say the word of the wise are as goads, as nails fastened by the master of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd.
And I will give you pastors according to my heart.
And what should they do?
Which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Now, that's Dea for knowledge there, and that's the knowledge of God.
Pastors is Ra'ah.
And that's a shepherd. You know what I'm saying? So his job is to watch over this man's people and give them the knowledge of God and the insight of the knowledge of God of what they're given. You know what I'm talking about? This is what they're supposed to do. Now, we were talking about this here, right? People saying, oh, if you read Jeremiah's prophecy, you're a prophet. No. Nigga, you know how to read. You know what I'm talking about? A prophet prophesies that which will surely come to pass. Prophets do not teach the word. That's not what they do. They prophesy. You know what I'm talking about? That is something totally different. That is someone speaking from the inspiration. Because again, this goes back to the conversation we had with George. And George saying an apostle, a bishop is above an apostle. Remember what we read when he said in the church first apostles, secondarily prophets, third teachers, go on the law. What do you see? Moses, the first one. He's the first one set in the body. When he came to set that body together, he set Moses first. He taught Moses directly. Moses is an apostle. Then he got Aaron and Miriam, and they were prophets and prophetesses. They were second in command to him. Then thirdly, he got teachers, and those were Levites. Because they are the ones who taught the good knowledge of Yahuwah. You see how that worked? But none of those people sought and set in order many proverbs. They didn't do that. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the word coalesce or preacher, I think it's only used in Ecclesiastes. I don't think it's used anywhere else. You know what I'm talking about? When I say anywhere else, I'm talking about the entirety of the book of Ecclesiastes. It's not used anywhere else. Give me Ecclesiastes 1:1. Matter of fact, I'm over there. Don't worry about it. He said, the words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit have a man of all his labor under the sun, which he take under the sun? One generation pass away, and another generation come, but the earth abide forever. He say, no matter, when we look at generation, in this particular passage, remember, there's two words for generation. What it is, total death, and the other one is escaping. Dore. And that's what's used there. Dore is a period of time, a condition, a class of men, those living during a time period. Remember, total death is literal descendancy. You know what I'm talking about? So when he say a period of time pass away and another period of time come, but the earth abides forever. The sun also arise. The sun go down, and when it hastes to his place where he arose, the wind go towards the south and turned about to the north. It reel about continually, and the wind returned again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come till they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, neither, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that has been, it is what shall be. That which is done, that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. Now, you know, I read that because we went over this before. He said the thing that have been. Now, the thing that have been, of course, that is Hayah, or the thing that has exist, which shall be. And that which is done, or the work, that which is done, which is Asa, that which shall be done. You know what I'm talking about? So that which existed is that which will exist, and the work that is done is the work that is done, and ain't nothing new under the sun. He says, there anything new whereof may be said, see, this is new. It have been already of old time, which was before us. That's why he say he's isn't giving you a new commandment. You know what I'm talking about? There's nothing new, per se. You know what I'm talking about? But let's stop right there, man. Because he said there's no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of the things that are to come with those that shall come thereafter. He said, if you had time, give your understanding of the earth abide. Oh, so what he means is the earth abide forever. It's like what he said in Isaiah 45. He didn't make the earth in vain. He made it to be inhabited. So when he tell you that the earth abide forever, when you're dealing with a new heaven and new earth, he's going to make a whole new creation. Like what you see in Genesis 1, he's going to speak the same word again and make a new heaven and new earth, because this heaven and earth is defiled. You know what I'm talking about? Now, is it a different land or Arats? No. It's the same Arats from the beginning, but with a different creation in it, because it will abide forever. Because he didn't make it just for the sake of making it, and then everybody's going to leave here, and then I'm going to destroy it or not be there. He's going to dwell with man as he intended to dwell with Adam in the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? And we will all serve and worship and praise Yahuwah for all eternity. That's why I referenced that verse 11 when he said there's no remembrance of former things. He told you in Revelation 21 when he said he'd make a new heaven and new earth, and the old heaven. Read that for me. 21 and 4. He said there's no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that come after. No, and you know how you reference that there? What went down under this heaven and earth is not going to be remembered in that which comes after that. Why would you want to remember sin, death, destruction, malignity, deceit, lust, and all manner of degradation and damnation? Why would you want to remember that in a place where there is no death? There's no death because there is no sin. There's no darkness there because God is there, and God is light and no part darkness. And everyone who dwells in him or will dwell in the light as he is light, because they don't commit sin as he don't commit sin. Revelation 21.
Saying Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death.
No more death.
Neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away.
The former things are passed away. You see how he said that? There's no remembrance of former things, because the former things are passed away. Neither shall there be remembrance of that are to come, with that shall come after. Go ahead.
Saying, he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me,
yes, sir.
Right, for these words are true and faithful.
These words are true and faithful. He gonna do what he said he gonna do. Well, we start right there, man. We 3+ hours, man. Hallelujah for Yahushua word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. And I bless you out of the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. If we're willing, man, we'll be back at it on tomorrow. Make it do what it do. Prayerfully, you understood all these things. You know what I'm saying? But hold fast to the promises of your God. And when you weak, seek his face. He'll give you strength. All you got to do is ask for it. Yes, so. He won't hold it back. He ain't going to keep it from you. He ain't that type of dude. Shalom, Sister Regina. He ain't that type of dude. He a real one. If you fool with him, he fool with you. And if he fool with you when you weak, he'll give you strength. You know what I'm saying? That man say, come unto me, all you that are weary. He said, I'll give you some rest. He said, if you faint-hearted, man, I'll help you out. Come on over here, baby. It's all gravy. Say it's all gravy. Come on round. You know what I'm saying? He's not the type of... I know a lot of people have problems with that because man lets you down all the time. You know what I'm saying? But Yahuwah is not man, nor is he the son of a man. So those type of things, you don't have to be worried about that. He don't operate like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not how he rolls. You know what I'm saying? He's a caring father, a loving Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? That's why we read that love cover a multitude of sins, and Elohim is love. He cover a multitude. If the law covers sins, he would have said that. You know what I'm talking about? But that's not what he said. He said love cover a multitude of sins. He said a hog cover that. That's why he said greater love have no man in this, that a man lay his life down for his friends, and God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. That's why that man said he was talking about, hey man, I'm going to lay my life down. He said, I lay my life down. No man take it from me. I lay it down on myself and I pick it up again. I got this commandment of my Abba. You know what I'm talking about? That's a different level of love. And that's the love that Adam was showing in the similitude. But he wasn't the one to do that. But he was the just for the unjust. He stood through his, remember it said love is stronger than death. And if love, a man would give up all of his house, it would be utterly contemned. That man gave up his inheritance because he loved his wife. Then he tried to cover her sins with the same love he showed. But some people think, oh man, that ain't what that say. Woo, woo, woo. Absolutely, it do. But some people, no, brother, you stretching that. I ain't stretching nothing. See, one thing about me, bro, we don't stretch coke. We don't serve water whip coke. We drive 28 and 4. We don't stretch nothing. You know what I'm talking about? We don't put no cut on it or nothing. We don't do that. We want our stuff solid. We want to have the best work on the block. Cut it for what? Cut it for what? Nah, we don't stretch no work, cuz. I'm telling you, I don't stretch no work with the word, and I ain't stretch no work in the street. You don't stretch no work. You might drop 28,000, boy. This thing going in that 400 milliliter, boy. I'm talking about, boy, I used to walk around with my work in my shoes, boy. Never break. Straight them down. I ain't have to walk around with no crack in my pocket. Put that junk in my shoes. Police ain't taking no shoes. Because they ain't expecting you to have no crack in your shoes. They don't think your crack ain't strong enough to do that. You know what I'm talking about? You're gonna have kibbles and bits. Mine never break. And you know why I say that in that fashion with that analogy? Because, boy, we dealing with the rock. He said he the rock of Yasharal, boy, that's who you built on. Boy, that rock don't bend, break, or crack. You know what I'm talking about? That man say, man, you build your house on that. When the winds come and the storm come, man, your house ain't gonna move because it's built on a rock, man. We don't sell no watered down word, man. These boys selling trash out here, man. It's trash they serving out here. And I stand on that. And I tell a lot of them that to their face, your work is trash, bro. And I'm not saying that from the standpoint because I'm a preacher and I want people to listen to me. I'm saying that from the standpoint of somebody who know and have a love for the word of God and Yahuwah himself. Your work is trash. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking from the standpoint of somebody who I am not an individual that be like, because I preach, I can't listen to nobody else. I don't care nothing about that. You know how many times I done been with Zadok, man, and he dropped word, he listened to me, and then I dropped word, he listened to me, then he dropped word, and I listened to him. Do you know me and my brother-in-law was in somebody else's congregation for a whole month? I ain't preach a word damn time. Ain't tell nobody I preach no word. Ain't run up there to preach no word. I ain't do none of that. I ain't got to do all that. I'm not that insecure, brother. I am secure in my place in Yahuwah. I do not have to do that. You know, as a brother I know got a congregation on Landon Boulevard, man, I would go up in there, man, I don't say nothing. I don't try to drop no word on it. This man say the most trashiest stuff all the time. I don't say nothing. When we was in Detroit, man, the little homie was like, man, I wanted you to jump in there and the third. I say, little bro, you ain't asked. This your house. It's not my house. Which one of you men would go in another man's house and just go to bark and stuff? And this your first time coming in his house. This ain't your brother or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know that. I'm talking about, you know, there's limits to that there, but you know what I mean, man. You don't do that. That's disrespectful. You don't do that. You respect the man in the house. That's his house. If he wants you to drop some word here, ask you. You know what I'm saying? If he don't ask you, hold your peace. A lot of brothers just feel like, I got something to say. You gonna hear me. That's your pride, bro. That's your pride, man. You might want to get a handle on that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm for real, though. The reason why I say, because if you're for certain that Yahuwah has given you a word, then you know that you don't have to do that. Because at the time that he wants you to speak, you'll speak. And you'll say exactly what needs to be said, when he wants you to say it, how he wants you to say it, to convey what he wants to be conveyed. You don't have to be in a rush to say something because you feel like you just have to be heard. Because then is it about the word of Yahuwah or is it about you? These are questions that you all have to ask yourself these questions, man. This ain't just me telling y'all that this is something you have to assess yourself about this every day, man. You got to keep that flesh in line, boy. That flesh gets you out of pocket. You know what I'm talking about? Real quick. You know what I'm saying? Got to be on top of that type of stuff, you did. But again, I appreciate y'all. And I love y'all. Bless out the house, all of him, in the name of Yahushua. You willing, man. On tomorrow, Trap House be back open, man. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you don't knock on the door before 11 o'clock. And that's what he said. He said, man, I told you don't come around here for 10:30. You know what I'm talking about? And we'll make it do what it do, man. Peace, y'all, God, man. But y'all willing till that time. Let me get this baby, man. The baby.